Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from everyday guy, Rampless guy, and welcome back to the letters. So today we are gonna be doing or covering the multiple branch routes and the multiple decisions that we did not got or we did not chose to go for in our original set of choices, and we are gonna cover it up right over here. So yeah. First, we are gonna cover up all the other choices that I did not got in my original run, and then we will go for those choices or branch routes which require you to do something in the previous chapter. So yeah, everything till this very decision, as you can see up right here, is the same that I have done in my original set of runs, or as you can see up right here. Yeah, so let's continue and let's see what's gonna happen different now that we go for our first decision, or rather second one. I don't have the save file for the first one. That's why I'm gonna go for the second one for now. That is this, where we chose last time to say I cooked the breakfast, stay over here. But no, this time let's just say I'm busy, you can go. Yeah, let's go.
It's okay. I know you're busy.
After all, handling organized crime cases ain't exactly what one can call an easy job. It's understandable, the lack of time, his undeterred focus on his work. This has been a goal for him, I was told long ago. A childhood dream of sorts, although I admit the disappointment is there. A small part of my person is looking forward to spending time with what few friends I have. This is something they wouldn't be able to give at the moment. We have got our own lives to live.
Sorry about this, Zach. I should have come earlier, but you know how things go back there when shit hits the fan. It becomes messy.
It happens sometimes. Now, I do have spare containers with me here, though. At least bring some of what we cooked with you. I wouldn't be able to eat all of it alone anyway. It'd just be a waste. There's even enough here for Rebecca.
I don't have to go with him, though. I can stay. I'll just go home later. Catch a bus or something.
I answered her offer with a small smile of my own. Does she realize that unconsciously, in her own little way, she's taken it upon herself to look after the person surrounding her? Like her own family, in place of... never in place, but an extension of what she has miles away.
Nah, it's cool. I need to be off somewhere soon. So, it's a good thing Ash arrived when he did. At least that way you won't be alone.
In the company of another person, she will be safer from her thoughts, from her own self.
If you insist. And thanks for letting me stay the night.
Hey, no problem. But you should really call if you want to drop by next time. I could be out.
I don't plan to make a habit out of it, but I'll keep that in mind.
Let me just pack this up for you two, alright? It'll just be a minute.
Each right, 11 a.m.
My hand pauses short of pulling one of the many empty food containers off the cupboard. Ash has taken off the post-it note I have recently stuck to the refrigerator door. Although from this angle, it appears more like the note itself has done him a world of wrong, and now he's glaring at it more than reading it.
Oh yeah, I got that one a few days ago. They wanted magazine features of the new home. Ermin, something. The same one Isabella sold.
Wow, they sure don't waste any time. I was just finalizing their papers for final approval last night.
You sure about this?
Nah, I've had worse. Also, it pays a lot for one-time work. Can't exactly complain when it's like that. Why?
He doesn't comment on it further. He simply sticks the note back in its place among the mess of papers and receipts on the fridge and casually stuffs both his hands on his pockets. His eyebrows, however, are drawn together in a small frown. Yep, considering how he was pretty right. Now that we have completed the game, he's right about whatever he suspected Luke of. Yep. So the loudest little obvious, except Hana has nothing to do in it though. Ash may not say anything on it, but I'm quite sure there's something in his mind he simply can't voice out, likely due to present company. He stays wholly silent after. Packing for 3 people doesn't take long, and all too soon I'm heading the 2 of them out the doorway. A small paper bag swings in Isabella's hand when she makes her way out, giving me a casual wave as she takes the flight of steps down ahead of her companion. Ash, however, lags behind.
Go on, you can tell me.
I'm sure you know what you're getting into, but try not to get too involved with that couple.
Relax. I doubt they'll even remember me after this. I'm just a photographer passing by, nothing more.
and nothing more. Except when you chose to do that decision of going into their house, yeah, your nothingness is gonna be used
Though
over
it'd be
there.
nice to get a regular client. Easy on the pockets, of course.
Find some other one after this. Not them. Never them. Luxborn's big enough.
Okay, if it'll make you feel better.
He doesn't look completely convinced by my answer, but he nods nevertheless and claps a hand on my shoulder on his way out. A mild draft sweeps into the room as I close the door behind him, slightly disturbing the papers on the nearby fridge. A lone note flutters by my feet, the letters on the surface glaring at me with mute intensity. Ermengarde mentioned H at 11 a.m. After Ashton's warning, they all hold a different meaning now. Alrighty, and I guess everything is same from here, so let's move on to our next new decision. Alright, last time around we chose to show the photo to Hana, but let's now choose to show the photo to Ash, and let's see what's gonna happen now. Ash will give me flack for this. He will. I can already hear what she's going to say about this the moment I bring it up, yeah? Before he even sees anything, I will wager. The guy is a skeptic through and through, and it will take more than my account for him to even consider this, but he will though later on. But when you have been there, seen something enough to raise the hairs at the back of your neck and leave you wanting to flee or hide, what he thinks is the least of my concerns. I'm no hero. That's a title best reserved for someone else. Still, if this will help him change his mind, it's worth a try. Isabella's gone and done the same thing, didn't she? Outside, the sun has yet to rise. I've still got a few hours before dawn. Good enough time to mull over how I will go about this with him. Plenty of space to check if I will get the same result if I redo the process again. Flip processor hums back to laugh at my touch. The light switch gives up a soft click and darkness embraces the small closet again.
Somehow those urban legends don't sound so silly now.
Sometimes I wish Ash would make himself easier to find, yep. 24 messages, considering he's a detective, he is supposed to be a little sneaky though. Yeah, but hey, anyways, 24 messages, 13 phone calls, and 1 visit to his flat later. I still have no idea which rock in Luxburn he went off to hide under again. The guy has his own place but refuses to stay in it. Has his own phone but doesn't answer any of his calls or give an indication he's got on my messages. Most of the time he will just show up my front door, sometimes in the middle of the night, complaining how uncomfortable it is to sleep at the back of his his car. As if the old couch is my flat is any better. Oh my god. In my flat is any better, yeah. Nothing new from him though. A bit frustrating really. But there's police present, of course. Then again, he's not there most of the time either, and if that's also true for today, he's likely out on another stakeout. There's nothing much to do for me but to wait if that's the
Let's
case.
just hope I'm lucky enough today.
Let's see. Already we are in the police station. Wow. Back over here again. While Luxburn is a relatively peaceful city boasting a low crime rate, its precinct stays abuzz with activity. As soon as I open the glass front doors, murmurs coming from the people waiting in the lobby welcome me. Officers can occasionally be seen shuffling in and out of the room, greeting civilians with a casual smile and a polite nod. Some, though, look a little worse for wear, like their receptionist who looked at me with such disdain the moment I arrived. Thankfully, I won't have to deal with him today. Before I can even step in, Ashton's voice, though low, comes from the hallway adjacent to the lobby.
Not even for just 1 minute?
No. The case was dismissed, remember?
You were
New
the one
character.
handling that case.
If you want access to those records, you've got to ask Chief. I was taken off it before went to hell. Why do you even bother? Even Professor Clark seems to have given up on that.
Well, never mind, you won't understand.
Right. I know you owe Professor Clark a lot, but the right guy isn't just someone you mess with. They've got the money. Who knows what else gets swept under the rug with them involved.
That takes a special kind of ignorant not to know.
And a smart person to know which boundaries he can't cross. You're a bright guy, you'll figure it out. In any case, I've got to get going. Another missing person case on my hand. Benjamin on the front desk looks like he's about to maul someone after the fourth one yesterday. Murders, people missing, what a time to be alive. Man, I miss the old Luxburn.
Alrighty, yeah.
You and me both. I'll see ya. Gonna go grab some lunch.
Alrighty, I guess that was Abigail. Because that's the only person we saw in his context when we played his chapter. So, he notices me first as soon as he enters the lobby and pauses. Confusion briefly crosses his face until I fish out the phone from my pocket and wave it up. Frowning, he pulls his own mobile out, wordlessly fiddling with it for a few seconds before sighing heavily. There ain't any annoyance in him when he glances up, though only mild exasperation and what might be a hint of amusement.
Stop taking pointers from Isabella. This is gonna get old soon.
At least use your phone properly.
It's an alarm clock, a good note-taking device, a halfway decent camera, and maybe a music player too. If I'm being nice. What else do I need it for?
I don't know, keeping in contact maybe?
When he merely shrugs, I know I've struck a chord. He's far from holding a piece of technology in contempt, of course. Ash has always been nothing but practical from the start, and technology is useful. Only when he gets too focused on one thing, like a case he's handling, he tends to forget there are other things around him. A little reminder and a nudge in the right direction can get him a long way.
I've got an email on that social media site the girls roped us into joining.
That doesn't make any sense. Also, you've got an account before any of us had one.
For policing purposes? Anyway, why are you here? I thought you have something scheduled today. Or was that yesterday?
That was yesterday. Look, about that, there's something I want you to see.
He stops me with a tap on my shoulder, walks past me straight to the door and gestures with his hand towards their very irritated receptionist when I raise an eyebrow in question.
Over lunch. I haven't eaten anything since last night, and Benjamin there doesn't really like loiterers around here.
Wordlessly, I follow after him, but not after sending the poor guy behind the table an apologetic smile. Alrighty. As expected, he takes a seat in the farthest corner of the cafe, a good way from the window, but easily allows a view of who comes and goes. Secluded enough not to be disturbed by the lunch hour rush or be overheard by a curious bystander. If I didn't know this is lunch he invited me to, I would automatically assume I got dragged into another stakeout. After years of knowing him though, this has simply become one of the many habits I have gotten used to. Food arrives minutes later. A slice of their vegetarian QK for me, I guess. QK? I hope I nailed it right. Meanwhile, Ashton has opted for a cup of coffee plus a gracious serving of...
You having cake for lunch?
And that... My god, that image went off, but if you looked at the coffee carefully, that was a cool looking design on it. He shrugs and then proceeds to take it without a hint of remorse. Frankly, it's like seeing a child get his Christmas present early.
Don't tell Becca. I'll get an earful. It's just for today.
You should listen to her though. The kind of work you do, you'll need to eat something other than sweets. I don't want to see you drop dead in front of my apartment again.
I told you, just this once. Have you been hanging out with Becca lately? You're beginning to sound like her.
Nah, just for some recipes. But she has the right to worry, you know? It's like she's taking care of two kids. One bitches on sweets, while the other on cup noodles. At least Bella knows how to cook.
Hey, I can at least boil something. Wait, that's easy, right? I mean, you just put water in and...
No, don't even think about it. You destroyed your own kitchen once by sticking a pressure cooker on it. I think my sister is a whole lot better than you. And this is coming from someone who has no other choice but to eat her cooking for some time.
To be fair, he genuinely appears offended at the last remark. It will be too strong of a word to describe how Sis and him usually interact whenever they are in the same room, though whatever appropriate word it is, I can say without the most certainty that the feeling's mutual for both. Ash thinks she nags too much, while Sis thinks he's a trouble magnet I should stay away from. They are both technically right on their assessments.
How's your sister, by the way? Still bullying white guys?
Okay, what should I say? Oh, a choice totally different, so let's make the choice by saying first. Alright, let's give him a straight answer only. Let's not annoy him. So yeah, she is married to one now, not he.
You do know she's married to one now.
I hope she doesn't end up poisoning him with her cooking.
Pot calling the kettle black?
She can't be better than me.
Actually, she is now. They're planning to start a restaurant sometime in the future.
I was bedridden for days after eating some of the stuff she whipped up. And now you're letting her cook for other people?
Don't exaggerate. It was just for one day, and you're the one who refused to leave your apartment. You should come by, though. Sis gave birth a few days ago. Girl, I've only seen the pictures. But I might visit sometime after everything's settled down. Too many backlogs to go through for now.
No way in hell. She'll just find something to criticize again. Last time, it was Shirley.
Oh, nobody says anything about his Shirley. Wow. He makes a show of being utterly mortified, though I'm quite sure he doesn't mean any of that. He might not say it straight out, but I'm pretty sure he's enjoying the small visits whenever he can. Something about it reminds him of his own family, sort of like making up for the one he never got back after his parents separated. Sore spot, that one topic, one thing he never brings up in any conversation, if he can. If he can help it, and I've never seen the need to be nosy. There are some wounds you are just not meant to open, and for both of us, the sentiment goes the same way.
As if you ain't already on a shit list. You're just afraid of her.
In your dreams. But I'll think about it. Can't just drop this thing at the moment.
His change in tone is subtle, but his aggravation over the topic matter hangs completely palpable in the air.
Still no closer?
The opposite, actually. There's been some slip-ups here and there. Careless mistakes, and let's just say I'm waiting for him to make another one. What about you? How are things on your end?
All piled up on top of the other. But I can manage. Still recovering from the expenses for the movie, so the surge in new projects helps.
Though if Ash would have survived, he finally would have got a catch on Luke though, but damn it, he got killed. But let's see, we are going for the multiple routes, so we will come across that part where I really wanted to be at.
Well, there's this one thing.
Yeah. The expression on his face grows more puzzled with each photo I spread on the table. There's about 8 of them, all of it reprints of the same thing Miss Wright's distorted head on the photos. It takes a minute to go through each, eyeing the prints warily. The furrow on his brow doesn't ease even as he gathers all of it into one pile and sets them in one neat stack in front of me with a heavy sigh.
Hannah Wright?
Yeah. How did you...
The locket. She never takes it off. Evan's family heirloom.
But she does take it off though. I won't even think about asking why or how he knows that. If he's investigating them, we'll likely have already dug up every unimaginable dirt on them, including family history.
Are you done with your work with them?
Yesterday, yeah. It's just a small feature for a magazine. Interviews, photos, standard stuff, nothing big. But see, here's the thing. I don't know how else to put this out there without sounding crazy, but there really is something odd with that place. Remember the letter?
The illusions that you're going through. The stupid prank. Yeah, we are back onto that Ash and Rebecca. Yeah, this is gonna be annoying now. Let's see though. He drags in a breath, reaches up his nose and pinches it. Like the action alone will help grant him all the patience in the world. Patience in the world. I guess that was word, I guess.
Please tell me this isn't about that again.
No, Ash, you've got to listen this time.
I am listening, and I can't believe that just came out of your mouth. These are some blurred out photos, and that letter is just a stupid prank. I expected this from Isabella, not you. You're the photographer here. I don't see any need to get worked up over this.
I know what you mean, but will you hear me out first?
Ash leans back on his seat and doesn't say anything further. He gestures for me to continue with a wave of his hand, impatience clearly on his face. Any other person telling him this and he will walk out without batting an eye. I suppose the only reason he's giving me the benefit of the doubt is because we know each other.
Ash, I don't easily buy into these things as much as you do. Yesterday, though, behind Hannah.
He blinks at that, his eyebrows lifting momentarily before settling into a deep frown.
Hana, since when were you on a first-name basis with the right missus?
Why does that even matter?
I thought you said this was just a gig.
His voice stays level, but the accusation in it is as clear as day. Like, you are hitting on Hana? Alright, it hits a nerve in me, somehow more than that tone usually does. Alrighty, I do get where he's coming from, but alrighty, yeah, let's make the choice by saving first. That is not the point over here, Ash. That's definitely not the point where you are like, you're with Hana? You're being too good with her? Is there something going on more than that? Yeah, let's go. Of all the things I said, my connection to the right is the first thing he points out. As much as I want to keep my own annoyance at bay, I can't stop it from seeping into my voice.
That's completely beside the point here, Ash.
I warned you, Zach.
I get it, alright? But you can't just expect me to turn it down after I made a commitment to a client. I've got to put food on my table.
I didn't say you shouldn't, but you should not be messing with them.
I wasn't messing with them.
And this isn't?
Oh. You are flirting with her. Is this not messing around? Oh boy, we are back to that annoying Ash who doesn't believe in ghosts and everything. Oh boy. And then the fact that, yeah, his Luke and Hana stuff, yeah. He waves the photo in front of me before dropping the pile on the table with a loud smack. I don't need to look to know we have already attracted some attention from the lunchtime crowd. Besides, turning away from him feels almost the same as admitting he's right. There are things more important than his damn case right now. I wish he'd see that. Yep.
It was a job, and that ain't how these photos were intended to come out. You think I'd go out of my way just to edit something like this? There's something weird going on here.
And you think Luke Wright will see it that way? You think the right missus will find it amusing?
I did not do this for my amusement, Ash. People's lives might be at stake here.
If you understood that in the first place, we wouldn't be having this stupid talk. Luke Wright is a dangerous man, Zach. Keep hanging around them and you'll find yourself burnt to a crisp in your apartment or floating down a river 3 days later. This case is...
Will you stop talking about the damn case for once and just listen to me? Why do you think Isabella's...
Don't you dare bring her into this. We're talking about you and this stupid...
Oh, of course you don't want to talk about it. Because you're afraid there's some damn truth to what she's saying now that there's two of us.
Zach destroyed him. So good. Oh boy, Zach destroyed the heck out of this guy. Wow, I loved it. Like seriously, come on, Ash. But though he realizes later on, but yeah, he went really far with this one. Every expression drains from his face as soon as the words are out of my mouth. They've hit their mark. They have definitely hit the mark. Oh, bullseye right there. Each utterance skates, sharp with nothing but anger and the truth. The truth. Yet there are also things I won't typically say out loud in good company and rather ease people into it before letting it fall. Almost immediately, a wave of regret washes over me.
Ash, dude, that ain't what I meant to.
You said enough, Zach.
Okay. Without another word, he stands, his chair scraping loudly against the floor, all while my brain races to find something to fix this. Ours ain't a fragile friendship by any means. I like to think we have gone past the stage when we find everything the other says insulting. But there are times when letters and phrases alone can cut deeper than any blade. But he is really not hiding, or more of trying to avoid that truth which you are trying to say, or the fact that, you know, boy, yeah, we are back to this guy who doesn't believe in everything. It's just a trick of light. It's such a stupid prank going on with you. Letter is not real. might even leave a scar. He doesn't let me, however. Instead, he sets a card in front of me. The name is familiar, but amidst the cloud of remorse swirling inside my head, I can't bring myself to recall what I've seen.
You shouldn't be running blind. Call this guy. He'll be less inclined to shout at you. Might even talk some sense into you.
Oh, thank you so much. I don't see his face when he leaves, and it's only when the store's bell chimes again do I breathe. Ah, boy. Good. I mean, not so good considering for Ash though, but in the longer run, he will definitely regret this very moment. I will say, definitely he will. So, yeah, good on that part, yeah. Even though it did not went exactly good. But hey, let's continue now. Of all the places, it never crossed my mind I will end up wandering into the public library today, considering I rarely ever visit it. Somehow there has always been this kind of disconnect between me and books in general. Sure, some of them held my attention in my youth during the brief times of the day I was left to my own with nothing to do. I went through the whole of Grant's collection as a matter of fact. Read all of them twice or thrice even. But they never did hold it for long, most of it never sticked. Especially after I learned it's simply easier to do things myself if I want to learn stuff. This ain't in the plan in the first place. Okay, but after that argument, I really don't have any other choice, yeah? Nothing but quiet greets me inside, though. Not the typical mum one would associate with the library, but one akin to a hush prior to an impending trouble. Or perhaps I'm just overthinking again. I really like to think I'm just thinking too much about this. That this is just the lack of sleep talking. No, it's not. It's not. Don't worry, don't give Ash type or Rebecca type excuses to yourself. But I bet he will admit to this very fact that he was wrong tomorrow only. The fact that he again comes to his flat. Regardless, apart from a group of students murmuring in a corner somewhere, this place free of its usual visitors. All while my footsteps echo in a manner unsettling enough to raise the hairs at the back of my neck. Much to my relief, it does not take me long to find him, being the only occupant in this side of the room. Oh yep, Professor Andrew Clark. I've never personally met the man, but Ash has spoken highly of him several times. In fact, he is Ash's go-to guy when something's troubling him with a case. My steps are unsure as I approach. At any rate, he greets me with a warm smile like a grandson he hasn't seen in a long time.
Ashton's friend, I take it. Zachary. You'll have to forgive this old man if I don't get your name right.
Oh no, you got it. It's Zach. Zachary Steele, Professor Clark.
He gestures at the empty seat across the table while he returns to his books. Next couple of minutes pass in relative silence as he continues to read and take notes from the pile he's accumulated on a table. Maybe I should have taken a book first before heading here. But before I can even get far into that idea, the professor clicks the book shut and sets it atop the stack next to him.
Ashton told me you were hoping to get answers from me.
At my confused look, he lets out a small chuckle.
He sent a message ahead. A friend needs to have some sense knocked into him. In verbatim. That boy never changes.
I wasn't really expecting he'd do that.
Although I'm not quite sure what I could share, I'll do my best to help.
Of course, there are a lot of things I want to ask. How do we get out of this mess is the first among tens, hundreds of concerns in my head. But in the presence of someone I barely know, the thoughts won't easily form. He is nothing but patient, however, and with enough time to mull over, a question finally forms.
Do you believe in the paranormal, Professor?
It's supernatural, actually. Don't worry. It's a common mistake to make. But they really are two different things. The other one deals with what we can't explain at the moment, while the other are things we may not have an explanation to. Here. A friend of mine wrote that a few years ago. He took interest in the city after reading about the stories. I have to agree with him here. Even stories dealing with things you don't see with the naked eye can be rife with culture, and this city thrives on it. Just ask the locals.
Like ghosts, for example.
Among other things. The interpretation has changed over the years, though. Various religions, for example, have their own version. It might not always be a spirit now. It could be a memory, or an imprint, an echo, so to speak. Some are born from curses, even. out of great anger, hatred, or pain. There was this one story. Ah, here it is.
Another book is pulled out from the stack and placed open atop the papers, where he speaks with such passion that it makes me wonder if some part of him believes this to be true. It is interesting, though, even if I'm personally not a fan of such stories. And soon, hours pass without my notice.
In the end, it asked for something to be sacrificed in order to destroy whatever anchors the Wraith. A sad tale, that one. But the simplest grudge can bring the ugliest, even in the kindest person, with some people none the wiser. Oh, I'm sorry. I just went on.
Nah, it's good. Are you familiar with the Ermengarde mansion, though?
Of course. That goes without saying. Who hasn't heard of the local legend? Although, word of the mouth is, someone has already bought it.
Ah, yeah. The right couple. It was a close friend who handled that sale.
So I heard. Well, don't think the house being bought by anyone would stop us from talking about it. What is it about the mansion, then?
I just want to ask what you think of it, sir.
We're going to need more than an afternoon for that, young man. You see, it's the kind that has changed over the years, passed down from one person to the next. Sometimes, it's the Lord William who haunts the place. There are versions where it's the lady of the house, but my favorite, a personal favorite, would have to be the ones that followed after the disappearance of the kind daughter.
Well, what about these then?
There is a moment of hesitation on my part before I pull out Miss Wright's photos and lay them all in front of him. Unlike Ash, though, the professor inspects each print with great interest. That gives me some hope at least.
When were these taken?
Just the other day. Do you think those are the same?
Perhaps. Perhaps not. There were certainly instances when the film would pick up what the human eyes weren't able to see. But then, it could also have been human error.
I didn't edit it in any way. You have my word on that, Professor. They all just came out like that.
Then, if it is what you're thinking, I'd strongly advise against doing something reckless and further tangling with them. Accounts about them may be riveting to you, but most of it often ends in an unpleasant manner.
What about those people in the house? If there is something in there, shouldn't they know? I'm sure they're already familiar with the legends, but...
Some people might deserve it, however.
Deserve what, sir?
Boy, a little personal grudge right there, that they deserve to die by that curse. All of a sudden, the tenderness in the professor's eyes disappears, his face becoming unreadable. As though catching himself, he hastily clears his throat, gathers his books, and rises from his seat.
Professor?
I'm sorry. I just remembered something I neglected to do. You'll have to excuse me, Zachary.
All right. Do you need any help with that?
Don't let my looks fool you, son. I can still carry a few hundreds. I've been doing this for years. I'll see you some other time if you have any other questions.
Of course. It was nice knowing you, Professor.
He doesn't hear it, however. In a few short strides, he is out of the library, leaving me and every piece of this whole mess amidst the oppressive stillness. Despite the Hansel's gleam, more questions surfaced. If there is even a single way out of this, I hope we can find that. Boy, that was very interesting. We got to see that little side of Professor Clark where he kind of wants the bad of Wrights, and why not, considering he indeed is responsible for his wife's death. So yeah, the moon is well into the night sky by the time I make it back home, and my heavy threats and the sound of traffic, and I think we are back onto the normal track which I got in my normal set of fruits. So let's continue now to the next one. Oh, there is something new. An invitation and a request to cover an event, the Wright's housewarming party tomorrow evening. Oh, if only it were that easy, but it will give me a chance to talk to her. Yeah, cause we chose to go with Ash instead of Hannah about that thing in their house. But unfortunately, you never will be. With a sigh, I let my hand fall to the side of the bed along with the invitation. I'll think about it tomorrow when my head ain't muddled with the thoughts of a headless woman and the haunting smiles of a ghost. Belatedly, it occurs to me that the last meal I ate had been the one with Ashton, and an empty gnawing ache makes itself known, but I can't bring myself to stand up. Today was a complete waste of time and frankly a disappointment. It's just like it would have been if we had been with Hana. A complete disappointment and waste of time. I don't like this. The lack of certainty, the disquiet, and the lack of stable ground to stand on, the part where I do not know what will come tomorrow. Ever since that damn letter, everything has been thrown out of the loop. I wish everything stayed the same, but it won't be, so yeah, let's skip.
I even got in a fight with my best friend because of her. Hard to keep up when things are like that, you know? Especially when you can't do anything. It's kind of scary. Makes you wish things will just stay as peaceful as they used to be.
Yeah, this part is pretty new cause we got into the fight with Ash.
Maybe she just wants to be friends with you?
Oh my god, man. Oh, the cute Kylie who gets killed by the end. Although that was again because of me, so yeah. Aren't spirits supposed to be humans before too? Had people they cared about, lived a life of their own, smiled and laughed like the rest of us does. Do they really lose all of it after that?
You better get to school, though, or you'll miss sports day. You should have won yourself some awards, alright?
Alright.
What do you want from us?
Oh. The response never comes, however. Because when I blinked, it's gone. So let's get ourselves out of here too. Alrighty, yeah, now let's go. Despite things we have yet to straighten out before it blows up in our faces. Having something normal play out in front of me, no matter how childish their antics can get, I can't bring myself to muster even a little bit of it. Behind me, the television starts blaring the music for the end credits of a movie. They've likely been waiting for a while if Ash hasn't gotten impatient enough to rummage through my cupboards and watch something. Let's skip.
If this has something to do with the other day, I really am sorry about that.
Alright, yeah, let's see.
It was rude, and I didn't mean for it to come out that way.
A short but tense pause follows. They're both stalling. Under normal circumstances, I had wait. With this too, the more you force it, the more they will clamp down on it. But as handful of seconds continue to slip by, the unsettling feeling in me also grows with it. Soon it turns into impatience. Before I can demand a response, though, one of them finally speaks up. It is Ashton who first breaks it.
No, don't apologize. I should have listened.
How is everything with you lately, Zach?
Hold on, Ash. Both of you. Did I just hear you say that? Is this why Isabella's here? Has something happened?
Calm down, we're just here to check on things. So, did you meet Andrew about the photos?
What photographs?
Said photographs has been sitting untouched since the day I dumped them in my drawer. Isabella goes very still when I hand her the small stack. To her credit, she does not flinch like I'm expecting her to and flips through each of it in silence cause she's grown to it, I guess. But while her eyes remain strangely calm, her hands have gone rigid and her mouth has set into a thin line. She, out of all people, understands what this means. In hindsight, she would have seen the one I've approached before Ash.
What did Andrew say about them?
It could be one, but there's no guarantee it's a supernatural thing. It doesn't always happen. So, that's a dead end right there. Now that I think about it, bothering that guy for this feels pretty silly now. But with the dreams lately...
That's all? Did he say anything about the damn letter at all? Did you ask him even?
Nope. I paused, glancing at him skeptically. I don't know where this sudden curiosity is coming from. But if Ashton, calm, cool, collected, always logical Ashton takes interest in this, something or someone must have done somewhere something. Or the world is ending. Seconds pass. The apocalypse I'm expecting to go along with it doesn't arrive, however.
Yeah, that's really everything. The letter kind of slipped my mind. The photos were more important at that time. There was some stuff about the local horror stories, though. Talked about the curses, and he was really fascinated with the story about a wraith asking for a sacrifice to move on. Kinda nasty if you ask me. But it does make sense if you simply go along with it. I'm not sure how this will help in the grand scheme of things. Why are you asking about this anyway?
Rose's death isn't just a coincidence, Zach. It may have something to do with... I may have...
Yep, and that's why I guess it's all the same, so let's skip. Alright, last time around we decided to say we can still fix this, but this time around let's say nothing at all. Let's just stay silent. I opened my mouth to say something, fishing for little words of encouragement or comfort to lighten the mood. But no sound came despite my efforts. How can I, when my own head is littered with the same thoughts probably plaguing her? It will be nothing but a half-assed declaration when I have yet to sort myself out. Yet in the end, it is Ash of all people who finds them.
We'll find a way. Somehow. I don't know. This appears to be more complicated than I initially thought, but there has to be some way.
The whole thing sounds unexpectedly optimistic from him. He must have realized it as well, because he averts his eyes as soon as the words are out of his mouth, and Isabella turns to him with a look of surprise in her face. But despite himself, he continues, his tone careful and hesitant, afraid of saying the wrong thing.
On top of that, we don't have any concrete proof yet. For all we know, it could just be someone clever enough to use those silly legends to cover up for his crimes. I wouldn't put it past whoever that is. He's gone and killed 2 people already. But that's why I want to look into this, whether I have this case or not. I want to see for myself what it is. It's my job to know in the first place.
Then, what about...
And even if it is connected in any way, you have me and Zach helping you out. Becca too, I'm sure. She worries most out of anyone. So whatever you found yourself in, know you're not alone. Just promise you won't run off anywhere by yourself.
Ash rarely ever lies when it matters. Even if finding the right things to say is difficult for him, his words burn with nothing but a simple truth in them. But Isabella doesn't answer. Instead, she looks to me, eyes wide and searching, hoping to find some sort of affirmation to Ash's words in me. I can only offer a grin, and what's perhaps the only thing I am certain of at this moment.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Though I've got to admit, that's the longest I've heard Ash say something.
Shut up, Z-Man.
You ate the whole bag of chips I was saving for the weekend. You're in no position to tell me to shut up.
I was going to replace it.
Everything after quickly dissolves into our usual banter. But when a small smile spreads across her lips, and the tense lines on her shoulder ease, and I know we have given her something far more than empty reassurances. They take their leave mere minutes close to sundown. But regardless of the lighter mood, little has been said of their plans, only vague hints of what they're aiming to do after. While it ain't any of my business to know, something about this whole thing still gnaws at me. A tiny passing thought urges me to do something as well. Alrighty, so at this hour the streets are once again busy with the people heading home after a hard day's work. A lot of the bustle matters to them as they step down, and yeah, I guess everything is the same. So wow, this choice kinda was like in favor of Ash, and I guess it would help him get more closer to Isabella, and maybe something amazing will happen on that part. But yeah, this was a good one. Even though I thought this would go bad, but no, it did not. Wow. And knowing that whoever she is, she had once been human. Yeah, because we talked to Professor Clark about that. Perhaps not all of it is gone. Perhaps some of it is still there.
Hello? I know you're in here. What do you want?
Something moves behind me, a soft scuttling over the walls, followed by squelched and painful creaking of what can only be rotten flesh and broken bones. Without hesitation, I whirl around, my fingers and camera ready to skip this. Oh no.
I can help you. Whatever it is that keeps you here, I can help.
Ah.
That's what the letter's for, ain't it? You don't have to keep taking people's lives.
Oh. There is a brief moment of silence after, and for a short one, I think my pleas worked. Really? Then with no warning, the shuffling resumes, and along with it are the sobs of a woman. Alrighty, yep, let's skip now.
You? How the hell did you get in here? What in 7 hells do you want? It's bloody 6 in the morning!
Listen, sir, I know this is not a good time.
Oh, it's not a good time. Did you even check the clock before coming here? I bet you didn't.
Yeah, cause we never chose to meet with Hana. That's why this is a little different.
Unlike you, the ones living in this house need to sleep.
But yeah, I guess this is about it.
What did they do to you?
Ooh,
I can help you, you know? If it'll let you move on, I'll gladly do so. You don't have to kill anyone.
nothing. I don't know who I'm talking to. Or if a sane person is supposed to be doing that. Cause yeah, last time around we were like, why are you doing that? Yeah, and now we are trying to reason. So, oh, the only thing I got, yeah, is the same.
You got to stop this.
Oh.
We can't help you this way.
She moves in short, sudden, bone-crunching twitches. I know there is no escape. I'm screaming for help, and I guess this is about it. So yeah, this was a little different. This time around, instead of being afraid and be like, why are you doing this? We were like trying to reason again. So, ooh. Alrighty, with that ends our multiple choice route of what I just got right now though. So yeah, in the all endings guide, I was like, how to get this one? Yeah, we got it right now up over here. So now let's go for the other choices that we can do, which possibly doesn't require you to do any changes in the previous chapters. Yeah. Alright, so over here we chose to go for she's married to one now. Now let's choose you're the one who started it.
You do realize you're the one who started it.
Yeah, well, your sister tried to poison me with her cooking.
Like you can cook better.
My cooking has never killed people.
Your brand of cooking mostly involves throwing things into a pot and hoping it never explodes.
I'm never going to live that one down, am I?
It was in the news. Did you know Nana and Gran called me that night just to check if you're still alive?
And they were genuinely concerned. They have always been. Wow, that explosion might have been something then. In some unspoken agreement, my grandparents has adopted him into the family. A nice gesture, and I don't think he minds it at all. He'll even ask about them from time to time, check on their well-being. I think part of him misses his own family, the one he will never get back, and though he won't say it out loud, he appreciates having one thing close to it. Makes him feel less alone. Who won't? And yet,
You should drop by sometime. Nana's request. She wants to see whether that skinny boy has somehow gained some muscle.
I'll see what I can do.
sometimes he neglects the important things.
Ash,
Some other time, Zach. Things are a bit hectic at the moment.
even for just a day? Psh, come on, Ash.
You saw how things are at the precinct. Even Benjamin's at his wit's end.
He's quick to avoid my eyes, swiftly turning his attention back on his plate. The food, however, remains uneaten. He screwed up a ball again. I can't remember the last time he did that, but watching it happen in front of me is disconcerting. An excuse, I know that. His job is never as easy as those television shows often imply. Lots of bureaucracy and red tape involved. If he's lucky, they will find an easy lead, close a case after several months of no sleep and pure hard work. But most of the time, it's just one pile of reports after the next, one frustration after another. I just wish he had stopped focusing on it too much and see what he's missing out on for once.
You really can't make time for it?
I can't just leave this case for now. Sorry.
His change in tone is subtle, but his aggravation over the matter hangs completely palpable in the air.
Still no closer?
And yep, it's the same from here, so let's go. Okay, the last time around we chose this, now let's choose this. Patience can be a tough thing to summon at times, but we didn't get this far as friends if we let our tempers be the lot of us.
Bro, it's really just another freelance work.
He eyes me skeptically, the same stare he reserves for people he interrogates. I've been on the receiving end of it before early in our friendship. Years later, he's already got the unimpressed police look down pat.
Hey, there's nothing going on with me and Miss Hana. She was just being friendly. Insisted I call her by her first name. That's all.
I wasn't implying any of that. You're not that sort of guy.
I know, but let's just get that out of the way. The just-in-case elephant in the room scenario, aight? She's a married woman, Jesus!
Not with the image she presents in public.
No, but trust me, she ain't any of the things the tabloid writes about her.
Like I read any of those.
I know you don't, but keep it in mind, will you?
Will do. Though I can't promise she'll get off scot-free if she's involved. And without your acting, it feels like I'm doing a solid for your girlfriend.
Cut that out, will you? And I'm not asking you to. Besides, what's currently going on here is more important.
All right, lay it in.
Recounting everything takes the better half of our lunch, but he manages to listen through the entire thing without a snide comment. A feat in itself, actually. At the end of it, Ash merely nods, takes out his phone, and excuses himself. Off to a far corner of the cafe for some privacy, if you can even afford to have such a place as public as this. And yep, we are gonna go through the same thing, except this time a little peacefully, so let's escape.
I can't stop you if you're willing to believe in this crap. Give this guy a call. You're better off talking to... He's at the public library now if you want to catch him there. He used to be my professor back in the university.
Yeah, better than him is what he said at the last of it. Sorry for skipping pretty quickly.
Oh, no, I don't think that's...
Go on. I already gave him a heads up. You know I can't help you out, man.
He gives my arm a tap and walks off, mumbling about checking back how things are at the precinct. I don't see his face when he leaves, but I know this is his own little way of helping out despite what he doesn't voice out. Yep, and now let's skip. Oh, but this is something different. Yep. But after Ashton went through trouble to contact the professor, I just can't ignore it. Nothing but quiet grits me inside though. Not the typical mum one would associate with the library, but one akin to a hush prior to an impending trouble. Or perhaps I'm just overthinking again, yep.
What I said was weird. I'm aware of that.
Alright, this is different thanks to our decision though, right now that we did.
But I'm not taking it back. Isabella's not the only one here who's seen it.
A short but tense pause follows. The boat stalling, yep. But it is Ashton who first breaks it.
I'm not asking you to. No, you're right. There really are some odd things going on here lately.
How is everything with you lately, Zach?
Skipping. Actually, now that I think about it, we have never died in this QTE though, so let's die on this QTE to see what happens though. Yeah, that's what happens. Okay, so on that route, nothing really happened after that part, so yep, we are now again back to some of my original choices, but in this choice we are chosen to say I'm just a photographer of luxury living to not piss him off, but let's say I'm a friend of Hana this time.
Sorry, sir. I was just... You see, I'm a friend of Hana and...
A friend of Hana?
Yes, sir.
His eyebrows shoot into his hairline at my answer. Although it swiftly disappears under his dismissive gesture and a chuckle at its heels. A small frown spreads across my face before I can stop myself. What I've said is nothing remotely funny in it, yet here he is, hugging an arm closer to himself in a weak attempt to keep his shoulders from shaking.
Did I mispronounce something wrong? Or?
No, not at all. You didn't. My wife, has never mentioned a friend like you. That's all. I suppose it's a good thing she's venturing out of the usual. Vultures and savages, all of them hiding under sheep's clothing.
I don't really get it, sir, but it's not really surprising she wouldn't talk about me. We just met yesterday during the shoot.
As soon as the statement is out, the amicable air melts away almost palpably. His eyebrows crease into a frown and his posture stiffens. With how fast the atmosphere around us changes in merely the span of a few spoken words, I'm not quite sure what I can and can't say anymore. Cause we as Hana had said to him, hey, we were with Zach, and yeah, like handling a ticking time bomb. Yeah, is this why Ashton wants us to stay away from them? If so, a part of me regrets not listening to him now.
Shoot. Who are you again?
Zachary Steele, sir. I was here yesterday from the magazine feature about your home.
Ah, that Zachary, the photographer. I remember now. Just when you think she'd be careful meddling around media types these days, she makes friends with one.
It was really just small chit-chat, sir. The usual. To keep things entertaining. The shoot did take the whole afternoon to finish.
Oh, I'm sure she was pleasantly entertained. She wouldn't be making friends with media types if she wasn't. No matter. She's her own woman. She can do what she wants so long as she doesn't do anything to ruin herself.
Sure Miss Wright is aware of that, sir.
That she is. But we aren't here to talk about her, are we? What is this about today? The city is a long way from here. On pushbike, no less.
Yeah, I was actually hoping to talk to her.
Of course. Here for another headline, perhaps.
Not exactly, sir. I'm off work. This is for something else.
That's what they always say. The next thing you know, your face is in the front page of every conceivable scandal sheet going all the way to the ass end of Plymouth. You media types have such an insatiable taste for gossip.
There won't be any of that in an interior design magazine, sir. I can assure you that one.
Oh, you never know. Well-trained hounds have an uncanny way of sniffing out things no matter where you keep them. I do admire the passion, though. It takes a lot of energy for someone to leave bed this early, let alone knock at someone else's door at this hour. That aside, unfortunately, you're going to have to come back some other day. You see, darling wife left not a moment to go.
Oh, but she is not actually. So, yeah, we know about that part, and that's why we're gonna skip.
This right after you introduced yourself as my friend in front of my husband. I do believe this isn't how friends address each other. Too formal, don't you think?
She gives the card back to me nevertheless, and with it, her mood fades into a more pensive one. Anord looks at us on her face, yearning, a bit wistful as she looks towards the shop's display window. Yeah, now we know to skip. And yeah, last time around, we chose to say, I think that one looks cute. This time around, let's say, do you think a crib would make a good gift?
My sister just had a baby, you know.
She tears her attention away from the window and looks at me with an incredulous expression on her face. Like I just asked her to drive off a cliff. She relaxes eventually, but I can't get the image of her like that off my head. I hope I didn't say anything to offend.
Oh, what brought this on?
Nothing. It's just a thought. She gave birth a few weeks ago.
I suppose a congratulations is in order then.
Thanks. I'll let her know. Do you think a crib would make a good gift?
I'm sure she'd love that if she doesn't have one yet. Otherwise, maybe clothes. Or things she can use to care for the baby. You realize I'm the last person you should be asking about this, yes?
Oh, it's her first baby, don't you worry. I haven't bought a gift yet since I'm kinda new to this too, you know. The whole being an uncle thing. For a long time, it's just been me, sis, and my grandparents. Now there's a little person who came into this world as part of the family. Who'd have thought, huh?
Please don't tell me you're jealous.
Oh, of course not. But I gotta admit that the very idea takes a lot of getting used to, and, you know, scary stuff like what if I drop her or end up teaching her something bad, or I just can't stop making her cry, or...
Something warm presses against my arm, gentle as it can be, which stops the rest of my words coming from coming out. Her hand, I realize belatedly. When I look to her, there is nothing but warmth in her smile. She's been doing that a lot in the past few hours, but I can't help but return it to her.
Zach, sweetie, stop. You're panicking. It's going to be fine.
I don't know, Hannah. Maybe I'm not cut out to be a good uncle.
Don't be silly. You'll probably be the best one there is. Might even make a good father when the time comes. Whoever you choose to be with will be lucky to have someone like you, I'm sure.
At this, her expression softens, sadness flitting into her eyes for a little while before she looks away.
I'm the one who's worried if I'll ever make a good mother. Luke doesn't seem to even want one of our own. How pitiful is that? 7 years and we're still at this point. I don't even know what to call it anymore. Now I'm carrying this other life with me while the father doesn't want anything to do with it. What am I going to do, Zach? Because right now I'm absolutely at a loss.
Oh.
Abhi.
Oh!
The realization strikes me like a ton of bricks suddenly bearing down on me. More than astonishment, must have shown in my face because Hana lets out a chuckle. The slump on her shoulders disappears altogether underneath her mirth.
Don't look so surprised, dearie. Tied the knot 7 years ago, remember? Don't you think it's bound to happen?
She brandishes her hand in front of me, the unassuming silver band on her finger glinting against the late morning sunlight for a second. She eyes it lovingly, almost tenderly, despite the trace of sadness in her voice. For all I know, there's an entire story there, I'd ask, but that would be too inappropriate for even friends. Yeah, and this is quite the same from here, so let's skip. Alrighty, last time around we chose to say, never mind, let's not show the photo because I think it's a bad idea. Let's show the photo and ruin the good mood that we set it up right now.
I think it will be better if you take a look at these yourself.
Seeing is believing, right? But they're just gonna be like delusions, or you're a bad photographer or something on that part, just like Ash. Yeah, let's just see. I reach into my pocket and pull out the photos, handing everything to her. The recognition flickers across her eyes when she reaches for them, and I have to stamp down the tiny twinge of regret in my stomach for having the gall to show it to her. Only it cuts deeper the instant both her and Miss McCulloch's expression changes. And it's not a good look. Ooh. To say she's repulsed would be a total understatement. All this time, Hana has been nothing but direct, saying what she feels, expressing what she wants, and she's gonna be the same right now too. Away from the glamour and camera lenses, she's a whole different person. But as she goes through each of the pictures, I can't get an easy read on her.
Zach, dearie, what is this?
Your photos, the ones you requested copies of. I mean, they came out that way and I thought you should know.
Oh, I get it. You know, I've heard before that artists can be a bit weird. Have you ever gotten that kind of comment, Marianne?
Not in my line of work, I'm afraid. Or ever, Mrs. Wright. I'd rather keep my personal hobbies away from my actual work. Less stress that way.
Well, I suppose it just never crossed my mind that the saying applies to you as well, Zach. But talent's what's important, As long as you make good art, it doesn't matter.
Oh, no, you see, when we had that photo shoot yesterday, there was something.
I wouldn't say I don't appreciate it. I did ask for copies, darling. But would it be possible for you to give me normal-looking ones? Preferably with my head intact. I admire the effort you took to edit this, though. It looks authentic. Frankly, if I show this to some other person, they'd probably believe those silly rumors about the mansion. Good publicity, but not the kind I'd want for my new home. So please.
Boy. She drops them back in my hands like they are very surface burn hers.
If you could redo this, that would be wonderful. I'm positive you can do a better job than the one you just showed. Just try to keep the edits to a minimum,
Yeah. I can, sure.
You can take your time, of course. And speaking of time, I really must go.
So, no. That was so bad. I don't have to take a guess to know I have dismayed her, yep. Or in her own words, weirded her out. Beside me, Miss McCulloch shakes her head. Oh, don't you do that? Or, you know what? No, fine. You're gonna agree with all of the things that I'm just showing or doing right now. What are the odds I've also ruined my chances with the job she offered earlier? Very high, I'd say. Don't worry, she's... Oh, yeah, you know what? Never mind. It's a foolish idea in the first place. Miss McCulloch departs shortly after Miss Rice has taken her leave, muttering something about getting a quick lunch before fetching Bruthiel from Chris. I don't know what or who a Bruthiel is. It must be important for her to be in this kind of hurry. And well, she doesn't seem to be fond of small talks, something we can both agree on. That sounds good for a walk around the city maybe, but with the sun as high as it is now, nah, yeah, let's just skip because it's simple, it's see. Oh, I've already seen the look on her face when I tried before. There are limits to how far a person will believe in you. Then again, I didn't believe Isabella when she warned us. Oh yeah, that's because we showed the photo and she did not believe us. So this was a little different up right here. Is this what they call karma? If so, this is one horrible way of turning things around. Oh, yep, it is. And that is about it for all the choices that I could take, all the alternate choices, and with that, the new choices that got unlocked. In short, all the choices that I could take up in chapter 3 with the original set of choices that I did in the previous 2 chapters. So now, the choices, the dialogues, or the branch routes that we are going for are the ones that we could get if we do something in the previous 2 chapters. So yeah, now we are on to those routes, those dialogues, or those areas which needs some changes in my original set of choices in the previous 2 chapters. So up over here, we are gonna go for this one where we meet up with her, where I don't know, cause she got into an accident. After that, I've never checked out that whether she was alive or she got killed off. I guess that's what we will get to know now in the chapter 3. So let's go for this choice where, in case if you forgot what happened in the chapter 1, if you take this decision up to meet up with Rebecca, she gets into an accident and yeah, we never get to know what happens after that, but we will get to know now in chapter 3 because up over here she got into an accident. So she will not come up in Zach's chapter, but what exactly will happen now in that chapter, let's find that out. Alright, now this is something new now. You might be saying, whoa, my shirt is new because I'm re-recording this part of the route because my Audacity was like, no audio for you. So yeah, I'm doing this part again, but don't you worry, I got you covered. Yeah, okay, so this is from where the new part starts up. The first few notes, while muffled, are enough to wake me up. It takes a few moments for everything to fall into place, for my eyes to adjust to the light streaming into the room. Despite the pleasant chill the AC brings, my shirt is clinging tightly to me and my blanket a tangled mess around my throat. It's one of those nights again when sleep passes like a blink and is plagued with vague, fuzzy thoughts. I lift a hand to rub away the drowsiness from my eyes, although it does little to relieve the gritty, burning sensation from my eyelids. Outside, the sun has yet to peek over the horizon, but night has already given way to the cool morning light, washing everything in subtle grey hues. At this hour, the entire city remains unstirring. Ordinarily, waking up before my own alarm means abusing the snooze button twice or thrice just to catch those precious few extra minutes of sleep, just like me. But persistent ringing makes it impossible now.
This better be good.
Oh, it's gonna be very good. Or really bad, I will say. Groggily, I scramble for the bag sitting at the foot of the bed. The ringing still hasn't stopped even as I fish the phone out and Ash's name flashes brightly on the screen when I turn it on. Must be pretty urgent if he hasn't dropped the call yet.
Where are you? Ashton, it's 6 in the morning. Sun hasn't even risen. Hell, my brain ain't even awake yet. What do you need?
Get your ass here, pronto.
Here? Hold on. Can't this wait until I'm actually awake?
No, Rebecca's not.
His voice pitches and I fail to catch the last of what he's saying over the sudden racket on the other side of the line. When the noise dies down, however, he does not continue. This abrupt change in his tone, the unexpected hesitance to speak, puts me on the edge, and a different kind of anxiety clings to me. Something's wrong.
Here is where, Ash?
Ermengarde Memorial Hospital. Becca's already there. I need to be off somewhere. Just get there. Please.
He drops the call before I can ask more. Maybe it's just me or my sleep-addled brain, but in that short moment, he sounds almost as if he's pleading. The thought alone does not ease the lump of dread gripping my insides already heavy with fear. But despite the questions currently swimming inside my head, I waste no time in getting dressed, the rest of the day's plan and scheduled meetings effectively forgotten. Whatever lies ahead, I hope this ain't one of those times when my intuition is right. It is gonna be. The scent of hospitals never did grow on me. Too fresh, too medicinal. too sterile, and if I'm to go down the more morbid train of thought, I'd say the air smells a little like blood, and that if one pays closer attention, if one pays closer attention. I had said this even last time, but I'm gonna say it again. If you pay a little more closer attention, she almost looks like Hana, and he almost looks like Luke. Doesn't they? Don't they? Yeah, like really. It's not entirely terrible in itself, just that the scent alone is enough to bring about old memories, mostly unpleasant. I'm not saying the recent birth of my niece is one, of course. That has been a good milestone for both me and my sister's family. It's simply unfortunate that the disinfectant has to be everywhere for something anyone wants to commit to memory.
Did Isabella ever feel this way when she visits her father?
The same order assaults my senses as I make my way through the corridors in search of the emergency room. Recently renovated, according to one of the guards, I asked for directions. Considering how long the place has been around, I'm not surprised they already made plans to modernize. Gotta keep up with the times, they say, especially for a place where lives are saved. I don't have time to admire the new world though. Soon the person I'm searching for comes into view. Rebecca's sitting still on one of the few benches lining the hall, her head bowed and her shoulders rising and falling in a slow rhythm with her breathing. A pile of papers and various other personal effects have been arranged neatly beside her. And is that the letter and the blood on those? I try to ignore the foreboding feeling it sends me as I reach for her and shake her awake.
Rebecca, I'm here. Wake up.
She opens her eyes at the second tap, along with a small yawn of her own. In the hospital's bright lighting, the dark circles under her eyes are more noticeable. Her voice is still rough with sleep when she greets me.
Zach, did Ash call you in?
Pretty much. Woke me up, actually. Said it was urgent. What happened?
He didn't tell you?
Not really. He just said I needed to be here. Is everything all right? It sounded pretty urgent when he called. The way that guy phrased it, I thought for sure you had gotten into an accident or something.
Oops, yeah. Nope, she's not into the accident, except not her, someone else. So, yeah, let's continue. What did I say about this part? Rebecca shifts in her chair, smooths a hand over her face, and lets out a sigh, weighted enough with fatigue as she does so.
I'm sorry, Zachary. It's just been a long night. I don't really know how I'm supposed to break this to you. Ashton should be the one doing this, but...
The guy's busy again. No worries. You could tell me anything.
No, it's Isabella.
I'm afraid I can't quite follow, ma'am.
You weren't entirely wrong. But it wasn't me, obviously. Last night, she got into an accident. A car accident. She was hurt pretty bad and they had to rush her here.
A lump has suddenly launched itself to my throat, making it difficult to get the next words out.
How bad exactly are we talking about here, Rebecca?
Critical. But I don't know. I didn't see her myself. When I came here, she was already in the ER. Has been since last night. The doctors haven't said anything since then.
And Ash?
He's looking into the crash. He hasn't called again, but he promised to keep us updated.
Another heavy sigh comes out of her. Abruptly, she stands and starts pacing, her trembling fingers laced tightly together in front of her. She continues for a good minute, treading the hall in short, uneven steps before stopping and pressing both of her palms over her eyes, as if that alone will be enough to stave off her exhaustion.
I called her out, you know? I promised I'll treat her to dinner if she gets out of her room. I was only hoping it would cheer her up after the news. The one about her co-worker yesterday. And now, I should have just kept my mouth shut. If I did, then maybe she'd still be.
No, she had been in a much worse condition, which you will guys get to know about.
Hey, don't blame yourself. You had no idea this would happen. An accident is an accident. If there's someone you should hold responsible for this, it's that ass who ran her over.
or the ass who made her stop over there.
Ash will find that guy, don't worry.
I wish it were that easy. God. It's one after another, Zachary, and no one will tell me anything. And I came in here asking for her, and all they said was, "She's in critical condition, ma'am." What are we supposed to do? I want to do something. I need to do something, but I can't. Not when she's still in there. Still fighting for her life.
I wish I can give her the answer she wants to hear right now, but that has always been the hardest part in circumstances like this, always out of our control, always out of our hands. And here comes the choice where last time around, or more of the part where I had already done things, but now I'm redoing this again. I had originally chosen this thing to be like, hey, there is nothing we can do. So yeah, there is nothing we can do is the original one. If we had been on this route, or you got the thing what I was trying to say over here. So yeah, this one is the first one which I have gotten over here for. Let's go. Perhaps it just hasn't sunk in yet, or it's my own uneasiness over what's happening. But what comes out of my mouth next is one thing I soon come to regret the second it's in the open. Yep. Oh boy.
We can't really do anything about it right now.
And she's just gonna kill me with those glares. She stares glares if we're looking for the right word at me, and like this, it doesn't require too much of my imagination to see the teacher in her. All of a sudden, I'm 12 again, getting a reprimand for slacking off, or not paying attention, or doing something else in class.
There must be something, Zachary. We can't just...
Yet the way her voice falters tells a different kind of story. Rebecca's sharp, she knows. The moment she got here, she knows how much this whole thing teeters dangerously on the side of futile.
Look, Rebecca, I get you. I get how bad everything looks. I get how frustrated you are over this. But as much as I want to be useful, there's only a handful we can do right now. And if there's one thing situations like this has taught me, I think it's best to prepare for the worst.
I don't want to go there. Not yet.
I'm not saying we should. It's too early. I'd like to believe she'll make it through despite the odds, but these are pretty high odds. And you know what they say? The less you cling to it, the easier it'll be to accept. If she's just in case.
We let the silence fall and the words hang between us, because the truth in those feels more tangible than what little hope we are both clinging to. Somewhere far off the hall, I can almost hear the faint beeping of machines. Which one is Isabella's, I wonder? How is she doing? How long are we supposed to wait? Will she pull through? But it's always the waiting, ain't it? More than the fretting, it is always the long, excruciating hours that follows, blurring everything in between and slowing it down. By the point we have both drank through our third cup of coffee, we have already lost track of the seconds, the minutes we have spent sitting here. There's no idle chatter between us, only companionship and what little support we could give each other. Which is not much, considering how long the two of us have known each other. Better for Ash to be here instead of me, or Isabella, if only she didn't have a different battle to fight right now. Then again, we won't be here if she ain't. When a door finally creaks open and a voice calls for us, none of the world shifts back into the focus I am expecting it would. It's Rebecca who handles it with much patience and tact while I sit on the sides. It is her who faces the nurse, who listens to him, who nods, and wordlessly follows when he gestures for us to do so, all in spite of the weariness beating down on her. A different kind of burden now after that talk. I am almost too afraid to ask. And yep, there she is. She'll love this room. The moment the nurse opens the door and the soft late morning sunlight greets us from the sole window, I know she would. It might be a little inappropriate to think about now, but if she's well, Isabella will say the same thing. She has, after all, always favored the sun. Reminds her a little of home, she said, and looks beautiful, though very tragedious to what happened to her. But despite of that, if we remove Isabella from this room, Just by looking at it, I will say it looks nice. Yeah, on that part, it's true. I will say yeah. It reminds me a little of her too, to be frank. In the background, the heart monitor bleeps faintly in a steady rhythm. She's not an easy sight to see, covered in bandages, a thick cast on her leg and neck, with all these wires and tubes attached to her. It's painful. She looks nothing but frail like this. And still, too still. She's never still, and yet here she is, her breathing too quiet for comfort, even as the ventilator pumps oxygen into her.
They have to keep monitoring her.
But she's okay now? We'll just have to wait?
Not. Not exactly. She isn't out of the woods yet.
But alive, right? I mean, she's here. Even with all this stuff attached to her, she's gonna be fine, yeah?
She lets out a breath, probably the 13th one since I joined her year, and flops unceremoniously on a nearby chair. Carefully she reaches up and gives Isabella's bandaged hand a little light squeeze. I'm not sure if that's meant to be an encouragement for the patient or her. But for all her hesitance, I'm glad it's Rebecca who has to break whatever this news is. If Mrs. Ashton here dropped that without any sort of preamble. For a detective looking to get heads up, it works. For people waiting on the edge, it doesn't always.
I don't know. I honestly don't know anymore. The doctors, they had to put her in an induced coma. They had to after the seizures. It wasn't looking good. Something about the trauma and the head injury from the accident did that. I know I should have listened better. I'm sorry, Zachary. Half of it didn't even sink in. All I understood was she's on life support now, but they aren't expecting her to make it. Her chances aren't good from the start.
I know I said we should prepare for the worst, but that's still... Someone has got to tell them they can't just...
I did, all right? Already did. I told them to get their asses together. Even made a promise to try.
But you mentioned they still have to monitor her. That means they haven't given up on her, right?
They haven't. I insisted. But with how things are, they said she might never wake up. And if she ever does, she might not be the same anymore. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I was angry when I told them that, and it just came out of my mouth. Maybe they're right. Maybe I should have just let them...
You did the right thing, Rebecca.
You don't know that. What if she doesn't want this? Do you see all of these? Wires and tubes and bandages everywhere. She's barely herself, clinging to dear life as it is. She can't even hear us. Doesn't even know there are people here worried sick for her.
The point is she's still here. Don't beat yourself up over what ifs. This ain't over for her, alright? I've seen people recover from even worse. Have some faith in her.
I do have faith in her.
You know what? I think this is just a lack of sleep talking. You been here since when? Last night? Go get some rest, Miss Gales.
But Isabella's...
I'll take care of her, don't you worry. We can do shifts if you want, but go home first. We'll talk about that later when you ain't looking like you're about to fall apart. If you keep going like this, you're the one who'll end up here next.
The rebuttal I'm expecting from her for even suggesting the idea doesn't come. To my surprise, she merely chuckles.
This feels like a conversation I had with Isabella a few days ago. I said the exact same thing to her.
Then maybe it's a sign you should rest. Let me take over from now.
Maybe. But I'll keep that in mind. Are you sure you'll be fine alone? I'll come back this evening. So if you need anything picked up, I can get it for you.
Nah, no problem on that front. Besides, if I do need something, my apartment's just a few blocks away. Skip and a hop, that's all I need. Focus on getting some sleep. Let me take care of this for a few hours. Do it for everyone's sake,
We'll do. Thanks, Zachary. If something changes with her, promise me you'll call.
You'll be the first one to know, ma'am. Well, if it comes to that. I hope the news I bring will be better than the one we got this morning. Crazy thing having to wake up to this.
I hope so too. I'll see you later.
Rebecca manages a weak smile before turning and heading out of the room. But when the door clicks shut behind her, it does so with little finality. Like saying this won't be the last, that our stay here won't be as brief as we are all hoping. Beside me, the beeping from the machine remains unceasing. The distinct familiar scent pervading the room persists as it wraps itself into the room's only occupants. Altogether, a different memory burns itself in my mind. There is something personal in the melody slowly threading itself into my consciousness. A hum, pleasant in every note, lingers in the air and carries with every shift. It reminds me of our room, of a little place my sister and I once called home, and of a promise made several springs ago, back when our walls are bare and everything still foreign and new. The soft rustling wakes me long before I can fully remember. Someone is speaking in the room, in hushed whispers, muttering words like a secret not meant for my ears to hear.
This is stupid.
It's Ash. It takes a little while for the recognition to sink in and remind myself where I am. But sure enough, when I shift my gaze up, Ash stands there, leaning casually against the edge of the bed, arms folded across his chest while sporting a pensive expression on his face. I'd say it's close to wistful, but this is Ash. And with the room's light dimmed down, one really can't turn.
Hey, Ash.
If my sudden movement surprised him, it only shows in the slight lifting of his eyebrows before he acknowledges me with a small nod.
How long have you been here?
Just came in a few seconds ago.
Oh, sorry. I didn't hear you.
Figures. It's not a problem. You probably need to rest anyway.
You're the one talking. You look like shit.
So I've been told.
Seriously, how long have you been up?
18, 20 hours or so? It doesn't matter. I'll get some shut-eye later. Where's Rebecca?
I sent her home early, but she'll be back too.
Oh, here she is, talk of the devil. Both of us turn just in time to see Rebecca ease the door open and step inside. She's brought a traveling bag with her, and from the way she transfers its load to her other hand, it's heavy enough with things for maybe 2 or so days worth of sleeping out. I don't know what to say to that, quite frankly, or if I am supposed to question her about it. Ashton no doubt has a remark or two about it, but before any of us could comment, she raises a hand to stop us.
It's not mine.
3 words, and they are all telling enough. Just like that, an awkward silence descends in the room. All of a sudden, just the mention of her has become some sort of a taboo between us. Funny when she's just lying a few inches away from us. God knows if she's even aware of us. Even in this quiet, I can hear her laughing. We are making a big deal out of this, she'll say. It isn't anyone's fault, but it's obvious that one way or another, each of us told our own selves responsible for what happened, however irrational that sounds. Plenty of what ifs, should have, and could haves going around. It's almost stifling.
Always prepared, ain't you?
I just packed what she'll be needing for a few days. I figured it'll be easier for me to bring her things since I live next door. Go take a break now, Zachary. I'll stay with her until tomorrow when her aunt gets here. She's flying over from the other side of the country. Heard she had to file a leave to get here as soon as possible. Oh, what a mess all of this is.
Don't you have class tomorrow? You sure about that?
I can always call for a leave, too. I've got plenty, since I rarely ever use those. Someone has to stay here after...
No, I'll take it from here.
It's not that his offer is in any way unexpected. It is not even in the way he delivers it. Ash may seem distant to other people, rude to some, downright embarrassing to a few, but to those he keeps close, I'm positive he will never hesitate to show some willingness to help. He cares. He really does. Simply in his own unorthodox way. I'm sure Rebecca's aware of this too, more than anyone. But the tight expression on her face, her strained grip on the bag, and the stiff line on her shoulders suggest a different kind of understanding, what you may in another language call it as jealousy. It's clear-cut jealousy up right here. She's like I said it even before too when I was doing the original recording, but I was like, she's jealous straight up, as you might have saw her chapter, she is clearly a little bit, or should I say, a little bit more jealous of Isabella, or his affection towards her more than herself, being the fact that she has been with him for so many years and Isabella being like a couple of years only. Yeah, that's little jealousy up right here, straight up right here. I guess you guys can also totally see up right here only. But yeah, let's continue. This is just my personal opinion. Yeah. Even in the sharp, biting tone her voice takes despite the meaning in her words.
You don't have to do that. Zachary and I can handle this for a few days.
Both of you already had your turn with this. It wouldn't hurt to have another person helping out.
This isn't some sort of a competition, Ash. We're doing this because someone has to be here for her.
I'm not making this one. I just volunteered, didn't I?
Yep.
Don't you have an investigation to finish?
And Zach has freelance gigs in line for the next few days. You have students to teach. Don't push it, Becca. All three of us have things to take care of on our own. But between us, it should be easier to find some time.
Fine. Good.
Her voice is almost too quiet, like the calm on the eve of a brewing storm.
Do what you want.
She doesn't give him a chance to get another word in. In 3 steps, she closes the distance between them and hands him the bag with a little more force than necessary, in my opinion. Then, with nothing more than a sharp glare at him, she marches out the door. Maybe it's just me, but in the brief instance our eyes meet, hiding behind that flash of anger is jealousy. Cause if you did not saw jealousy right now, I don't know what you're doing right now. Or it's pretty obvious in short. Did something happen when I wasn't looking? A lot. But you won't understand cause yeah. It certainly doesn't seem that way from the way Ash is acting.
You go ahead, Zach. I'll take over for now.
You sure this is fine?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, sure. It's not like this is a hard task. I'll probably get more sleep here than if I stay at the precinct or in my car. I'll call when something changes with Isabella, if that's what you're concerned about.
You ain't worried?
About what?
I'd say Rebecca, but he doesn't seem to have noticed earlier's action because it's like every day, man. Like every day it happens, right? Every day she can be a little jealous. Yeah. Regardless, I'm not the kind of person who finds joy in prying, and it's certainly none of my business. On top of that, we have Isabella here, bedridden. Rebecca's right. It's one problem after another, and to be truthful, I kinda want to ask for a little breathing room already. Yeah, let's not put jealousy in here now. But that ain't how it always goes, ain't it?
This, everything, the accident, I don't know. You tell me. You were there, weren't you?
That gives him a pass, his hand stopping short of placing the bag on the table. Judging by the conflicted look on his face, he doesn't know how to respond to that yet.
About this, I'll figure it out. Don't worry. I'll find out myself who did this and make sure that bastard gets his just desserts.
So you do have an idea who?
Vaguely, but nothing conclusive yet. I'd rather not say anything until we've got everything sorted out. It's a huge mess. This and that other case. It might even be related for all we know. Thinking about it gives me a headache.
He lifts a hand and pinches the bridge of his nose. His eyes are squeezed tight in what's perhaps a struggle not to overthink. I'll keep whatever frustration he feels at a considerable distance, preferably far enough so he can think clearly. When he's like this, it's better to leave him alone with his thoughts. But as I am about to pull the door open, ready to take my leave, he calls out.
Do me a favor, Zach. Make sure you keep away from the rights this time. Tell Rebecca the same thing.
Oh, we are gonna be so far away from the rights, yeah. Like the next day or next day we just go for the interview. The name rings a bell. Though at present I can't recall where I've heard it recently. Nevertheless, I know, if only to give him some peace of mind. This guy already has enough on his plate.
I'll remember that. See you later.
If you catch up to Becca, make sure she gets home safe.
Will do. Go get some sleep yourself.
I throw him one last look, even though at this point I'm not sure what I'm searching for in his face. Reassurance, some sort of encouragement, or proof that everything will be alright. I won't dare ask any more. Not when he's doing this looking forlorn, like as if he's failed a lot of people. And that's what he actually feels. You caught it right over there. One person in particular, yep. And not only that, he will think about more than that later on, but yeah. With one last wave, I closed the door behind me, leaving wishes of hope and a whole slew of unspoken remorse and concerns in the room. My apartment is more than a welcome sight after everything. Although it's small and begs for a little cleaning and repair, it is, at the end of the day, the closest I have to a respite. Sure, my sister would have a thing or two to say about the mess every time she visits, but it's still home to me. A mild draft sweeps into the room as I close the door behind me, slightly disturbing the papers on the nearby fridge. Most of them schedules, lists, and tasks for the next few days. Something to keep me busy while I sort myself out. And now with what happened to Isabella, something to temporarily take my mind off things. A lone note flutters by my feet, the letters on the surface glaring at me with mute intensity. Ermengarde mentioned H. After Ashton's warning, they all hold a different meaning now. Alrighty, and the next 2 days rush by in a blur, altogether leaving a collective mess of work suddenly piling up, and new unexpected acquaintances or friends. Depends on how you look at it, really. Either way, I'm stuck developing these photos at 3 in the morning to reach a deadline set by an over-eager art director. Don't get me wrong, Julius is good, has a vision, and knows what he wants, but damn, he can be too enthusiastic sometimes. And this is about it, so now let's move on to the next new thing. Alright, now this is the new thing up right here. The presence of another person might have helped as well. Although Miss McCulloch seems less predisposed to small talk, preferring to keep to herself most of the time, and let Miss Wright tell us whatever. Yeah, and now let's go. Alright, now this is the new thing where we are talking about we gotta have to do something since we did not show the photos. So yeah, we are like, I made that mistake with Isabella. And look where that got us. What other choice do I have? Ash, Rebecca? In all likelihood, they will give me a pat and the Z bag, and yeah, they will just be like, trick of the light. Yeah, so.
Damn, I should have thought of that first.
Yeah, and now it's all the same. Alright, now this is the new thing up right here, or paying the hospital a visit to check on Isabella in the morning, since we got on to this route where Isabella is hospitalized rather than alive. Yeah, that's why this is new thing up right here. But with the expectant expression on Hannah's face alone, I wondered how they got Isabella to sell them the mansion with all the paperwork and the loops it has to go through. Well, now the how is already standing in front of me, and it's one giant ball of persuasion in human form. Yep, and it's beautiful. Yep, she's really beautiful and one of my favorites, I will say. If I have any doubts how she got her own life, all of them have been dispelled right this instant. Yeah, and now it's a good time to instantly skip. Alright, now this is the next new thing where since we have gotten onto this route, this is the new thing that appears. So now let's go. The tremors follow me even as I get home, and hoped a little stroll around the block for a few hours would help. Instead, I'm assaulted with more images of her smile, the loathing in her eyes, the stench of gore, the horrid crunch that comes with every movement she makes. Even old memories have been sullied by her, and my song no longer sounds as sweet as it meant to be. In the end, all I got is a sinking feeling I will never be able to get rid of her, and another ridiculous image or idea that may or may not even work. The sun is already hanging low on the horizon when I make it back, and for the first time coming home feels more like a chore. Only I didn't arrive to an empty room, cause Ash is also here, because as soon as I open the door I'm greeted by none other than...
Sup, Z-Man?
Yes, Ash. Except only Ash, yeah. Whatever proverbial stone has made a home at the pit of my stomach automatically flies right out the window at the sight of Ashton. Sitting comfortably on my couch, munching on a bag of chips with both feet propped atop the coffee table. Common sense dictates I should throw him out, any person of right mind would. But like many other I have gotten accustomed to, I simply take it all in a stride. I never did bother turning him away the first time to begin with.
Ash, how many times do I have to tell you not to call me Z-Man? And stop breaking into my apartment. Call the cops on you, but doing that feels like a joke in itself because you are one.
I didn't. You gave me a key the last time I did that, remember?
After the last one you broke, I can't keep replacing the knob just because you think it'd be amusing to lockpick the hell out of it. And hey, is that my...
Ash smirks at me because, of course, he has the gall to smirk knowing what to do. He pops in what's very likely the last piece of chip into his mouth and folds the wrapper neatly on the table before throwing it on the nearby trash. Behind me, the television starts blaring the music for the end credits of a movie. He's likely been waiting for a while if he's gotten impatient enough to rummage through my cupboards and watch something.
You ate all of it! I was saving that one for the weekend!
I'll replace it.
What exactly is this about?
In an instant, he sits up, every trace of amusement gone from his face. He claps his hand in front of him and leans forward. A minuscule gesture meant to ease yet the grim expression on him tells a different story altogether.
Has everything been alright with you lately? Anything odd?
You saw me last night at the housewarming party, Ash. Pretty sure I'm doing fine.
I'm not asking about that. Remember the letter thing Isabella's been yapping on about? I'm asking about that kind of odd.
I look at him. Caved more like. His serious expression doesn't waver despite the perplexed look I showed him. There is a brief second I let pass as I wait for the heavens to fall somewhere. It doesn't come. The sky is still bathed in vibrant reddish hues as it waits for the night to arrive. Luxburn is still the same busy city, and everything in my room still appears as it did a second ago, including the unnerving ticking of my wall clock. But if Ashton, calm, cool, collected, always logical Ashton, takes interest in this, something or someone must have done something.
Well, the dreams, they're a lot worse than usual. There's a woman now, ever since we saw that letter. I don't know if it's the same one Isabella talked about. Maybe it is, maybe it ain't. I really don't want to go back to sleep sometimes. Last night was the worst. Anyway, why are you asking about this?
Becca's been saying weird things lately.
Weird like...
Same kind of weird Isabella says.
Alright, bro, stop right there. I thought you didn't believe in this stuff.
I still don't, but even Rebecca, out of all people, claims there's something. Whatever this is, someone has got to look into it. Everything about this screams shady.
Are you sure you even have the time? Ain't you busy with your current case?
I got taken off that one this morning.
Didn't you say you were getting closer to...
Apparently, the higher-ups think I'm doing a horrendous job at it. It doesn't matter, though. If these two cases are connected like I initially thought, then regardless, I'm on the right track. Have you seen the news this morning?
He grabs the remote and cycles through numerous channels until he gets to a news report about another guy who has been found dead in the early hours of the morning today. Burned alive this time. Only no fire, has been spread, and whatever damage has been contained within the place the body was found. The room itself, however, has been completely vandalized. Help me, help me, help me. Another murder, authorities claim. If only they knew.
You think this is...
I don't know what to think, Zach.
He rises from the chair and begins pacing the length of the room, lacing his fingers roughly through his hair.
I just know there's something. There must be. There has to be.
But you do have something in mind, I'm sure. A plan? Come on, Ash, you're good with that.
I do. I'm just not sure if I'll get anything out of it.
Well, a plan is better than no plan at all, ain't it?
Almost too sudden, he swivels on his heel, and for a passing moment, I thought he was going to shout at me. Instead, Ash simply flops back down on the couch, crosses his arms over his face, and releases a long, ragged breath. His voice comes out smaller, closer to a whisper when he speaks again.
I should have looked into this when she was still here. Maybe none of this would have happened if I did.
There it is. No need to ask who her is. Every should haves, could haves, and would haves. All our frustration in one statement, while all we can do is to cope. And now comes the decision time where I originally chose to say you are not the only one stuck in this. So now let's go.
You ain't the only one stuck in this mess, you know.
Harsh, but perhaps the thing he needs to hear most right now. And I'm just getting shooted by glares cause yeah, this was another kind of bad decision I did. And yeah, the glares, man. Like first from Rebecca, now from him. It's just like a glare battle going on with me. With me being the target, he throws me a glance sharp enough to cut, if it is even possible. Looks about to say something for a moment, but he decides against it. Rather, he blows another aggravated sigh and drags his fingers down his face.
It's my job to know things, damn it.
Not everything. Even someone like you has their weakness. Stop overestimating yourself. You ain't infallible. Don't blame yourself for every little thing out of your control. Doesn't work that way, Ash.
Easy for you to say.
Maybe, but it ain't above me to ask help from others. I know what I can and can't do. Do you?
And just like that, we have reached another standstill. One by one, things are starting to fall apart without our notice, or because of my choices. Ash lives mere minutes close to sundown. He's said little until then, not even a hint of what he's aiming to do after. While it ain't any of my business to know, his whole reticent attitude on the matter gnaws at me. At this hour, the streets are once again busy with people heading home after a hard day's work. Little of the bustle matters to him as he steps out the crowded walkway, however. That's only his goal in his mind, and I'd wager there's nothing I can do to stop him at this point. He's probably decided on it long before he made the decision to drop by. But despite this, he lags behind.
What's wrong, Ash?
His mouth opens, then closes, but whatever he wants to say is lost in the clamor of traffic outside.
Is there something I can do?
No, just say where you are.
I can't do that. No can do, Ash. Ask me anything but that. No way in hell I'm gonna pretend there ain't a problem when there is. This is a really big one. And I'll be damned if I let anything happen to you guys while I sit here. I'm done running when things get tough.
What? You think you have a better plan?
Who knows if it's better? At least it's something.
If all this is going to do is put you in danger, then I'd rather you not do anything at all. I never want to wake up to that kind of thing again. Finding out one of my friends was left for dead in the middle of the street. One person is enough.
This is still better than having no other course of action, yeah?
He's about to argue for a moment, but
Look, bro, if things ain't good, I'll be the first one out. But allow me this one thing, aight? Just this one time. If it doesn't work out, you'll be the first one to know. You can laugh then, or berate me all you want, but please don't ask me to step aside like I'm incapable of doing anything to help.
I have no idea if it is the look on my face or the tone of my voice. Ultimately, although his mouth presses into a thin line, he nods.
Do what you want. If you can check in with Rebecca, I'd appreciate it.
When he stumbles into the sidewalk and allows the afternoon crowd to swallow him whole, I like to think the tiny gleam in his eyes is the closest we can get to optimism in this situation. Whether that alone will be enough to give me a peaceful sleep tonight remains to be said. Alright. Night falls, and despite my best attempts, sleep continues to elude me, and this is a good place, and the place where we need to skip. To over here, not so far though if I'm going to be honest, it is not the night terrors that are keeping me wide awake tonight, but the anxiety and the hope I will hear from Ash soon. And for what's perhaps the 42nd time my eyes shift over to the end of the table where my phone lies still, I have not heard from him since he left. He hasn't promised a call, of course, but a small part of me wishes he would have the common sense at the very least. Waiting is a tough game, and with the constant stretching out the minutes far longer than usual, it's impossible for more unpleasant thoughts not to enter my mind. Moreover, it does not help that when the clock finally strikes 3, we skip. Okay, for this one, you gotta have to now go for the first end, where you will get this since we are on this route now, where last I heard him speak like that, a friend ended up fighting for her life in the hospital. Yep, that's why this comes up here. Now she's still in coma.
I'll be there in a few. An hour or two tops.
Yeah, and
Thanks.
this is
I'll see ya.
about it. So now let's skip. Okay, now last time around we chose to say there's nothing we can do. Now let's go for the alternate one where let's say you need to take a break, which is pretty good. Rebecca does not move nor pull away when I lay a reassuring hand on her back and I lead her to an empty seat. If things are not as bleak as they appear, I doubt she would fully accept the gesture, strong-willed as she is.
I know you're worried, Rebecca. We all are. But you have to think about yourself, too. I'll be straight with you. You look like you're a few steps away from falling over. How do you think Bella will react if she sees you like this right now?
You don't have to mince words with me. Just say I look like horse dung, Zachary. I won't be mad.
All right, ma'am. You look like you stepped and rolled in a pile of horse dung today. Not the same thing, but the way you are, there doesn't seem to be any difference.
There. Wasn't that easy? But yeah, she'll scold me. Believe me, Belle will. She whines with how bossy I am every time. But she doesn't realize how she's every bit of a mother hen as I am. Don't tell her I said that. And then maybe she'll laugh after. She never does stay mad with anyone for long.
That she does. Or you could always offer her food.
You don't have to tell me. That has always been a last resort. It works every time.
Look at us talking like she's gone and left us.
I'm sure it's nothing like that. I think this is just us hoping we won't lose her.
We won't.
You sound very sure.
Well, times like this, the only thing left to do is to hope. Maybe pray for the best. But I don't want to believe those guys inside aren't doing the best they can to save her. They have to be if they've been at it for hours. And Isabella's... you know how she is.
She's stubborn. I think that's a good thing. I want to believe she'll make it through because of that alone. I'm a mess, aren't I? One unfortunate incident, and I'm all ready to give up hope. Can't even keep myself together when nothing final has been said yet.
We all are. A mess, I mean. In more ways than one.
We let the silence fall and the words hang between us. Because the truth in those feels more tangible than what little hope we are both clinging to. Somewhere far off the hall I can almost hear the faint beeping of the machines. Which one is Isabella's, I wonder? How is she doing? How long are we supposed to wait? Will she pull through? But it's always the waiting, ain't it? More than the fretting, it always the long excruciating hours that follows, blurring everything in between and slowing it down. At the point we have both drunken the third cup, there is no idle chatter between us, only companionship, which is not much considering how long the two of us have known each other. It's quite the same, but yeah, there is little bit difference that comes up later on. That's why I'm just not skipping. Better for Ash to be here instead of me or Isabella, if only she didn't have a different battle to fight right now. Then again, we won't be here if she ain't. And yep, when a door finally creaks open, a voice calls us in. It's Rebecca who handles it with patience and tact. It is her who faces the nurse and gestures for me to come over here. A different kind of burden now after that talk. I'm almost too afraid to ask, and now it's a little different. I think so. Now it will come a little bit different up right here. Let's see. Yep, I had to skip till this point because things are pretty damn same till this point.
I know I should have listened better. I'm sorry, Zachary. Half of it didn't even sink in. All I understood was she's on life support now, but they aren't expecting her to make it. Her chances aren't good from the start.
They can't just say that. They don't know her. I'll talk to them. They'll see reason if I just...
I did, all right? Already did. I told them to get their asses together. Even made a promise to try.
And yep, from everything here, it's pretty much the same, so let's skip. Yep, now this is the next new thing up right here. It won't change what happened to Isabella, because we are on this Isabella in the hospital route. Yeah, so this is a little different. But she certainly won't wish for anything to happen to us either. Outside the sun has yet to rise. I've got a few hours before dawn, good enough time to mull over how I'll go about this with him, plenty of space to check if I will get the same result if I redo the process again. The frame processor hums back to life at my touch. The light switches, gives out a soft click, and a darkness embraces the small closet again.
Somehow those urban legends don't sound so silly now.
Even as food arrives minutes later, he stays distracted. And I still like that drawing in that coffee though. His eyes distant focused at some point on the table and a frown squeezing his eyebrows as if in deep thought.
Any news about Bella's condition?
Yep, and now over here is the actual new thing though, I will say. But still it was like, hey, still new stuff. So yeah, I did not check out that was anything new till this point, but I think this is the new thing. But hey, new thing or not, you can still check it out up here. So yeah, he pauses, the fork still halfway to his mouth. Ash is far, 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 far from the most open person in the world. Even to us, the people he already lets see past the cool and distant persona, there are some things he keeps safely tucked away to himself. In that one unguarded second, though, a pained expression shoots across his features, one he doesn't bother hiding under his usual mask of detachment. I'm not sure why, of all things happening right now, I find that alone unnerving.
No change since I left yesterday. Rebecca visited last night. Said something about an aunt taking things from here. I didn't hear most of it, but I'll probably drop by again later to see if I can help.
I think it's the one who helped to get the job at BRC.
Really? I only just found out. I thought Isabella was living alone all this time. Well, I assume since Becca is her emergency contact.
She is living alone, technically. Her aunt's working pretty far from here. She only mentioned her in passing before. Can't very well help their family when her aunt has her own set of mouths to feed. Bella had to be the one to take the job. Something like that. And it ain't even like she'd want someone else to do the work. If she can, she'll do it herself.
She's stubborn, that's what she is.
You shouldn't talk.
He gives a non-committal hum and returns to his food. He hasn't even taken a bite when he lets out another yawn. And now it's time to make the choice. Alrighty, so let's make the choice up over here, which would be the first one cause I had gone for the first option. Yeah, it's new day. Yeah, it's new day. So let's go.
Ash, when was the last time you slept?
There shouldn't be any need to ask him about this. In fact, I never have to, more than anyone. He knows his own limits. Now, the same person who once told me how important a sound and alert mind in his line of work appears dead on his feet. To be fair, Ash does think about it for several seconds before shrugging on one shoulder and digging the fork into his food.
I took a short nap in the break room.
For more than 4 hours, dude. Not a nap.
A few days ago? I don't remember. I got some sleep back at the hospital, though. Should be good.
That was 2 days ago.
He glances at me for a moment. He's aware I'm right. But when he proceeds to shove more food into his mouth, more forceful than necessary, I know he's not going to concede. I can't begin to see where this sudden big-headed thinking is coming from. His tone is quiet when he speaks again, though barely rising above the din of the coffee shop, but the resolution in it is deafening enough.
It doesn't matter. We could be in danger right now and not even know it. I need to get this mess sorted before anything else happens.
Taking a day off wouldn't hurt.
His fork clinks loud enough against the plate for the sounder to linger awkwardly between us.
Are you kidding me? While the one who ran her over is still out there? They left her lying in the road, bleeding, almost half dead. Now she's stuck in some damn hospital and may never wake up. I don't think so, Zach.
Are things really that bad?
You're looking at me right now. What do you think?
Cut back on the sarcasm, Ash. I really want to know what's happening here.
Ash shrugs both of his hands down his face and lets out a huff weighted with every frustration he's carrying in him. For an instant, he opens his mouth to say something, probably to argue, but hastily decides against it.
Traffic cams were useless. And those were supposed to be high def to begin with. Damn, huge waste of taxpayers' money when we can't even use it when we need it. The people at Tech have been at it since we got hold of the footage, and all they managed to salvage was a scant few seconds before she crossed the road. How does that help?
Well, there must be some use in that alone. Like, maybe someone pushed her?
There was no one else. She just stopped right in the middle of the road. Just right in the fucking middle. It's like there was something there that prevented her from crossing. I just don't know what.
Yeah.
Zach, Isabella's not that stupid. There was something there. That's what made her stop, and the traffic cams didn't catch it. Something.
Abruptly, he trails off and gapes at me with wide eyes as if something has just snapped properly back into place inside his mind.
Or someone. Someone was there.
Actually, if we're going to talk about someone, maybe this has something to do with it as well.
Yep, it's the ghost, but I am pretty sure, or more of I am sure, since I have already been to this place right over here again now, he's gonna say the same thing over here, where he's just gonna be like, oh, not again. Boy, the good old trick of delight. You are just illusioning. It's a stupid prank, Ash, up right here.
Please tell me this isn't about that again.
No, Ash, you've got to listen this time.
I am listening, and I can't believe that just came out of your mouth. These are some blurred out photos, and that letter is just a stupid prank. I expected this from Isabella, not you. You're the photographer here. I don't see any need to get worked up over this.
I know what you mean, but will you hear me out first?
Ash leans back on his seat and doesn't say anything further, cause yeah, everything is the same from here, so let's skip. Okay, now over here, let's go for that's not the point over here, cause that will bring about a good change over here since we are on this route. For all the things I said, my connection to the rice is the first thing he points out. As much as I want to keep my own annoyance at bay, I can't stop it from seeping into my voice.
That's completely beside the point here, Ash.
I warned you, Zach.
I warned you, Zach.
I get it.
And now something will different happen over here.
Why do you think Isabella's...
Don't you dare bring her into this. We're talking about you and this stupid...
Oh, of course you don't want to talk about it. You can't figure out the bastard who did it because of your own f***ing incompetence.
Boom. Boy, yep. There you have it. Much more worse than the previous one, I will say. And yeah, that's the new thing up right here. And from here, it hit the mark. And it's gonna be the same as before. Alright, now this is the new thing up right here. Moreover, I have said things I shouldn't have the other day. Cause yeah, we have said it because of that one, the first decision that we made. It's because they fear incompetence. Yeah, that's why this is a little thing up right here. So now let's go. Gotta straighten that one out before it blows up in our faces.
Ash, how many times do I have to tell you not to call me Z-Man? And stop breaking into my apartment! Call the cops on you, but doing that feels like a joke in itself because you are one.
I didn't. You gave me a key the last time I did that, remember?
After the last one you broke, I can't keep replacing the knob just because you think it'd be amusing to lockpick the hell out of it.
Yeah, and there are some similar stuff as you can kind of see, but I will skip on to those where actually some new thing comes up. So let's go.
And hey!
Yep, and in an instant he sits up, every trace of amusement gone from his face. He claps his hand in front of him and leans forward. A minuscule gesture meant to ease yet the grim expression on him. That is a different story altogether.
It's fine. You had a point back then.
Wait, what? Did I just hear you say that?
I'm not kidding, Zach. Speaking of the other day, did you meet with Andrew last time?
Yeah, at the library. He was...
What did he say about the photographs?
Huh? Oh, there's no guarantee it's a supernatural thing. It doesn't always happen, so that's a dead end right there. Now that I think about it, bothering that guy for this feels pretty silly now. But with the dreams lately...
That's all? Did he say anything about the damn letter at all? Did you ask him even?
I pause, glancing at him skeptically. I don't know where this sudden curiosity is coming from. But if Ashton, calm, cool, collected, always logical Ashton, takes interest in this, something or someone must have done something. Or the world is ending. Seconds pass. The apocalypse I'm expecting to go along with it doesn't arrive.
Yeah,
however.
that's really everything. The letter kind of slipped my mind. The photos were more important at that time. There was some stuff about the local horror stories, though. Talked about the curses, and he was really fascinated with the story about a wraith asking for a sacrifice to move on.
Yeah, let's move on us also, cause it's same little bit. Alright, everything till here is the same, so last time around we chose to say you're not the only one stuck in this. Now let's make sure this doesn't happen to anyone else. Yeah, let's go.
Rebecca and I are still here. And don't count Isabella out yet. No matter what the doctor said, I want to believe she'll pull through. We'll manage one way or another.
Don't make it sound so easy. We have no idea what we're dealing with here.
I ain't saying it will be. But we gotta do something, yeah? Make sure this doesn't happen to anyone else.
He grins. None of it reaches his eyes, but it's a start, not stare. Yeah, thankfully this is a good one. We have got to start picking up the piece somewhere and hope everything will turn out for the better at some point. Rash. Well, frustrations aside, he's always preferred taking matters into his own hands. However, a little reminder there are other people with him won't hurt.
You have a point.
I always do. You just don't listen.
If he minds the bluntness in my words, he doesn't show it. But little by little, things begin to look up, if only for a short while. Ash lives mere minutes close to sundown. He's said little until then, not even a hint of what he's aiming to do after. Well, it ain't any of my business to know. His whole reticent attitude on the matter gnaws at me. At this hour, the streets are once again busy with people heading home after a hard day's work. And everything from here is the same, so let's skip it. Right, we are back up over here where last time around we said, when was the last time you slept? Let's now say, don't you need to slow down?
You look like you're about to pass out.
I'll be fine. What I'm doing is more important.
Don't you think you need to slow down for a little?
He laughs. The mirth more from the incredulity of my suggestion than any amusement he finds in a friend worrying for his well-being.
You aren't seriously asking me that.
Maybe I am. Think of it this way. If it's Rebecca who's asking, oh, she won't be as nice as I am.
That's low, Zach.
Sure it is. I hated to bring Rebecca into this, but if I can't reason with him, he sure as hell can. That alone seems knock some sense into him, though if the horrified look on his face says something.
I'm just giving you your options.
Yeah, I get it. I'll see what I can do after this.
Are things really that bad?
You're looking at me right now. What do you think?
Cut back on the sarcasm, Ash. I really want to know what's happening here.
Ash drags both of his hands down his face and lets out a huff, weighted with every frustration is carrying in him. For an instant, he opens his mouth to say something, probably to argue, but hastily decides against it.
Traffic cams were useless. And those were supposed to be high def to begin with. Damn, huge waste of taxpayers' money when we can't even use it when we need it.
And yep, everything is quite the same, so let's skip.
He sent a message ahead. A friend needs to have some sense knocked into him. In verbatim. That boy never changes.
I wasn't really expecting he'd do that.
Yep, cause I also over here took the first decision only. Except like, if you want to get this part of the dialogue, you gotta have to go for the don't you need to sleep, and then the first decision again to get this little dialogue though again, how does this happen exactly? Like, yeah, but anyways, to get this one, you gotta have to do what I just said right now. So yeah, I guess this is about it for this one, so let's now skip. Alright, now for this new dialogue that will come up, you gotta have to do one change in chapter 2, which is the decision between whether you want to say the truth about I was with Zach, or want to lie about hey, I was tending the gardens. You gotta have to choose I was tending the gardens, and that's about it. You can do whatever you want in chapter 2, and you can do whatever you want in chapter 1. It won't be affected by any of it, but the decision that I just talked about of choosing I was tending the gardens will surely bring about a change up right here, as you choose this decision up right here.
Sorry, sir. I was just... You see, I'm a friend of Hana, and...
A friend of Hana!
Ha ha!
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Shoot. Who are you again?
Zachary Steele, sir. I was here yesterday from the magazine feature about your home.
Funny, she didn't mention making a friend in the gardens yesterday.
Yeah, this is the one and only change in the dialogue that comes up, which is affected by I was tending the gardens. Makes sense, right?
It was really just small chit-chat, sir. The usual. To keep things entertaining. The shoot did take the whole afternoon to finish.
Yep, and now it's everything same from here. So now let's move on to, in fact, our whole new route. Let's go. Alright, time for our brand new route where instead of meeting up with her and ending up in the hospital, let's decline her offer and...
No, I'm not at the office!
End up in our apartment dead. Alright, now this is the new thing up right here where Ash has called us for the bad news, and yep, here's where the new thing starts off. So no, Rebecca is not in a good state and his voice hitches and I fail to catch the last of what he's saying over the sudden racket on the other side of the line. When the noise dies down, however, he does not continue. This abrupt change in his tone, the unexpected hesitance to speak puts me on the edge, and a different kind of anxiety clings to me. Something's wrong.
Here is where, Ash.
Apartment. Rebecca's. And Isabella's. Just get here, please.
He drops the call before I can ask more. Maybe it's just me or my sleep-addled brain, but in that short moment he sounds almost as if he's pleading. The thought alone does not ease the lump of dread gripping my insides already heavy with fear. But despite the questions currently swinging inside my head, I waste no time in getting dressed, and the rest of the day's plan and scheduled meetings effectively forgotten. Whatever lies ahead. I hope this ain't one of those times when my intuition is right. Yep, and now let's go. The murmurs of the small crowd milling on the streets are loud against my ears, a contrast to the sleepy, laid-back reputation this neighborhood has built throughout the years. Despite sitting close to downtown Luxembourg, Salamwell Quarter never did quite attract the loud crowd common to the city. Isabella mentioned once how the quad bothered her in her first few years here. She has grown so used to the routine clangor of the slums in her hometown, it has become the closest she has to a lullaby. She never did quite adjust to the kind of mum Salamwell had. Yet now I highly doubt she'll like this kind of commotion either, in her own apartment complex no less. Ooh. Moreover, where is Rebecca in all this? I was hoping either one of them will be able to give me an explanation, but a number of police cars and an ambulance are parked along the street closest to the compound. Given Ashton's tone over the phone, I already half expected their presence here. What's a little surprising are the news vans lined up on the road opposite.
What in the blazes is the press doing here?
The cold stone at the pit of my stomach grows more unwelcoming with each step I take, bringing a sour taste in my mouth. A handful of the curious has flocked near the building, probably waiting for something interesting to happen. Carefully, I weave my way through the thin crowd, only to be halted soon by a perimeter tape enclosing the 3-story apartment. My eyes dart around the busy landing on the other side. It buzzes with activity as several officers move in and out of the building, most of them in white suits and stained at the hem and gloves with a striking shade of red. I try not to think where those came from, but an idea has already planted itself firmly in my head long before I can stop myself. Ash must be in there somewhere if that is the case, or if this is that kind of case. I wait. And after what seems like a lifetime, he emerges from the building, his own gloves smeared with the same red shade the others had on theirs, and exhaustion evident on his face. Briefly, he scans the area, but quickly averts his gaze when he catches my eye. Without so much as a wave or an acknowledgement, he starts to walk off in the opposite direction while reading off the papers he has on hand with complete focus. I get that he's busy, but that's on a whole different level of weird. Not 3 steps later though, he seems to think better of it. He pauses before wheeling around and walking back towards me. This kind of hesitance, while not unheard of from him, is only enough to fuel the sick dread clawing at my insides. It doesn't meet my eyes when he speaks either.
Sorry you had to be greeted by this.
You say that like this is something new to me. Come on, dude, after all these years? Every time I see your name on the caller ID, I'm already half expecting something shitty went down again somewhere.
An expression both pained and weary crosses his face momentarily before hiding back under his usual mask of indifference. The rest of my laughter dies from my lips, replaced by a sound devoid of any mirth, cause it's not funny at all over here. Try as I might to keep the talk light, the thick atmosphere has become stifling at some point. I've always known how taxing his work in the police force has become since his promotion, seen it with my own eyes as a matter of fact. But right now, have things really gotten this bad for him lately?
Can't say the side of forensics is a pleasant thing to see in the morning. Anyway, where's Rebecca? You mentioned she's not in a good state. And then we have this. Please don't tell me she's somehow gotten herself in.
Nothing's happened to her. They're just getting her statement. They should let her go soon.
He gestures with his head towards an ambulance parked a short distance from us. A strikingly familiar hair is visible between the 2 officers standing nearby. Although I can't see her face, the tired droop on her shoulders is impossible to miss. Still, to see her unharmed is relief enough.
Glad to hear that. What's going on here anyway? Seems like you've got yourself another big case on your plate this time.
It's been classified as a homicide, but nothing conclusive yet.
A homicide? Another? Right here? Figures while the press is here. Oh, I don't think any of the two girls will appreciate you bringing the whole precinct here. Bella especially. Never did quite forgive Devlin, no matter how much she laughs about it now.
Isabella's not here. Zach.
A flicker of grief. Momentary in its passing, but it's there across his face at the mention of her. And in that single lapse, the stone in my stomach has firmly lodged itself up in my throat that it is none other than Isabella who got killed here.
Ash, what's really going on here?
A hunch, that's all it is. But if there's anything I've learned from him all these years, it's that asking the hardest question are unavoidable if we want to get answers. Not in a world as harsh as ours.
Ashton, I asked you a question. Where is Isabella?
When he looks at me, I already know the answer. God damn, I already know it, but I want to hear it straight from him.
She's dead.
2 words. None of it registers.
Dude, you know full well I find jokes like that in bad taste. If you need me curious about this, you got it done way before that came out of your mouth. Now answer the question properly.
I already did. What else do you want me to tell you?
The truth! Stop shitting with me and tell me what this is all about! God help me if no one tells me what's going on. I swear
I don't have time for this, Zach. I've got a lot of stuff waiting to be dealt with right now. I need you to make yourself useful and stay with Rebecca after they're done with her.
Let me through.
My hand's already on the tape, poised to raise it, but he's quick to move in front of me or front to bar me from crossing to the other side. It only serves to raise the eerie bubbling up in me. The tone he takes doesn't help either.
I can't let you do that. This place is off limits until the investigation's over.
It wasn't a request. Let me through.
What could you possibly want to?
You said she's dead! I want to see it with my own eyes, Ash! I'm not buying any of your bullshit until I've seen it with my own eyes! Move aside!
Or what? You'll break the tape? March in there like some criminal above the law? Because I'm telling you that's what you'll be once you do! And I won't be able to keep you out of trouble this time, no matter how innocent you are!
Screw the rules! That is my friend in there! Just the other day I was talking with her. How can she be dead right now? How sure are you that she is? All I'm asking is proof, goddammit!
It's not that simple! We're following a protocol here. And friend or not, you have to stay in line while forensics finishes documenting the victim's body and everything in the goddamn scene. Now back off, sit down, and let us do our work. Don't make this harder for us, Zach.
What? You make it sound like you don't even know her. Ain't she your friend too?
It's not that. You don't understand. Right now, she's nothing but a dead body. We need to...
All I saw is red. Yup. Should not have done that. Like, come on, it's just... My anger subsided just as quickly as it erupted. The next thing I know, he's on the ground, nursing a bloodied lip and a bruised cheek with an unreadable expression in his eyes. Yeah, every time I say this scene, or not every time, like second time, I'm like, no, Zach, just calm down. Like, he means well. Though obviously the situation is just so not well, I will say. But yeah, let's continue. My fist falls to my side, limp and forgotten. The papers and the photos he's been holding on to all this time flutter uselessly to the floor around us as if to mock me. His rage would have been better, far easier to deal with than the wall he's suddenly built up around himself. With it, there's only hurtful words and ugly truths, no puzzling guessing games that leaves you thinking for days on end. I shouldn't have let my temper get the better of me either, yep. I want to apologize, say something to remedy the situation, but my mouth has gone thick with fear and remorse all at once. I can only look at my feet, no longer standing close to the boundary I threatened to cross earlier. And that is when I see it, and you will realize why he did not wanted you to see it. Not only because for the rules and everything, but understanding dawns on me violent enough to shake me. With trembling hands, I reach for the scattered photographs off the pavement. And it's because of this. A sick, burning feeling immediately rises up to my throat. Like, look at that. Oh my god. Much crazier and worse than that hospital hospital route, I will say. I will just say it hospital route, then ending number 2, 3, whatever. But yeah, this is crazy. Like, woo. Purely on instinct, my eyes move in every corner of the print, searching for any sign of tampering, for any discrepancy, for any hope that this might just be an awful prank, but it's not. Like, yeah, no way at all that is a prank. But try as I might, I can't find it. Ripped apart. There's no other word for it. Like, literally ripped apart. And neck broken. Like, oh boy. She barely looks like herself. In fact, I wouldn't have known if it's her if Ashton hadn't mentioned something earlier. When I think of her, all I see is this person who has rarely ever lost a cheer in her voice. Often upbeat, rarely dispirited. Now, she's nothing more than a mangled mess of blood, flesh, and splintered bones. Her head is bent backwards, the eyes and mouth open in a silent, empty scream. Because yeah, if you remember that scene, she does this. Yeah, that's why I said like the neck is broken and everything. Crazy. A hole in her torso big enough to expose her insides gapes open at me. It is as if a savage beast has torn it viciously open and feasted on it, every organ mutilated and butchered beyond all recognition. Blood pools from the open wound, drenching her and the floor in a deep shade of red. I can smell and taste it even without being there. When finally I look back at him, Ashton's shoulders have gone rigid. His eyebrows are drawn in a tight frown. His jaws are clenched tight. I recognize the frustration. His frustration for what it is. It's not that Ash doesn't want me to see her. He simply doesn't want her to be seen in this state, yep. This ain't how he wants her to be remembered. I struggle to find the words. Anything to fix this god-awful misunderstanding. This ain't what we should be doing right now. But he only looks away as he pushes himself off the ground.
Ash, I don't know what came over me.
I won't be pressing assault charges considering the situation. I've got things to check with the other officers, but don't go thinking you can easily cross this line without me here. The other police types won't be as forgiving. Go check on Rebecca. She's probably the one who took it the hardest.
Without another word, Ash gathers the papers littering the ground, ducks under the perimeter tape, and walks away without so much as a backward glance. Doesn't even remember that the photos are still in my hand. In hindsight, I could follow him. I should follow him. Return this to him, apologize, and maybe attempt a decent conversation without butting our heads or getting into a trivial squabble over this of all things. But he's right, damn it. He's right in that we are not the only two people going through this. And right now, Rebecca has to bear losing a friend all on her own. Oh, who should I be with? Oh my god, this is gonna be a tough one. Okay, so yeah, it's a new day for me because it was very late for me back then though. So yeah, I just decided to come back up over here again. So now for this decision, I think if I go to Ash, he's probably beyond the perimeter tape and that will just again put me in trouble. So I think going to Rebecca, since he said so, would be a good thing to do, I think. So let's just go for Rebecca and let's see what state she is in. Apologies can wait. At the moment, Rebecca needs someone by her side. When I find her again, the officers who took her statement are long gone. She has not moved an inch from the seat the paramedics have offered her, and a distant look has taken over her face, the usual fierceness in her gaze missing, like a fire that flickered out of existence. There are no tears, just hollowness and sorrow. She offers me a weak smile when she sees me approach, but nothing else other than that. I try not to say something, my mouth opening and closing in hesitation, finding words that will hopefully offer the least bit of comfort, if not sympathy. But all of them falls flat in the face of her own grief. The only thing I can give her is my company, to sit beside her and help her bear this with as much strength as I can lend. Around us, the crowd slowly begins to thin out, most having already lost interest in the commotion that entails the discovery of a crime scene. A few do linger, just reporters finishing things up for the news and waiting for some final words from the authorities. If this incident is not yet all over the news this morning, it will be soon.
If she were here, she'd probably be scared out of her wits by now.
The words choke in her throat, her mouth closing off at the last one as if to stop a sob from escaping her. Man, that's pretty hard. Especially and she's the one over there on damn. I don't need to ask who her is.
She'll likely be out of here faster than you can say ghost to her. Probably rent a new apartment on the other side of the city as soon as possible. For good measure.
She would. She never did like it here.
Did she say that?
No, not directly. Never directly. She'll complain about me being bossy or Ash being annoying, but she would never say a word about that. The rent here is cheap. She prefers it that way. It just means she'll be able to send more home. Personal comforts be damned. For her family. Always for her family.
Rebecca draws in a breath, long and shaky. Her voice falters for a brief second.
They always came first for her. She's, 26? She doesn't even know how to take care of herself. It's impossible not to worry, you know? And she's always like that and...
She clenches her eyes shut and heaves in, her shoulders shaking with heavy, silent sobs. And as tears begin to slide down her cheeks, it hits me that I've never seen her cry like this before. Always the strong, reliable one, even the proud, fiery woman. Yet she's none of those as I draw her in and wrap my arms around her shoulders. She's simply another who has lost someone.
I don't really know what to say. Never been good with this, but I'm here, Rebecca.
Minutes pass before the rest of her cries subside, and by the time the grief has temporarily eased, my shoulders already damp with her tears. She offers me an apologetic smile as she pulls away, which I return in kind.
I didn't mean for you to see me like that. It's just that I was with her on the phone yesterday. Before this, we had a fight. If I had known that would be the last time, I don't know. Maybe I should have been more careful with my words.
Hey, it's okay. You don't have to say anything now. And it's not your fault. Never your fault. Understood?
No, Zachary, I was just talking to her. She was alive, and I shouted at her. I should have at least heard her out, given her the chance. She was so worried about everyone that something might happen to us.
Suddenly she trails off. The rest of what she's saying becomes lost in her tongue. Her eyes are wide when she looks back at me. One trembling hand cups over her mouth and the other reaches out to grip my arm with strength I had not known she possesses until now.
Zach, she was warning me. She said we might be in danger. Remember Rose Cooper? Her co-worker on the news. You've heard it, right? She was saying something about her and the letter she got from that mansion.
Whoa, wait there, Rebecca. That's a huge jump in logic right there. And a little bit too much to take in at once, frankly.
I know that. If nothing happened, I wouldn't have given it much thought. But as it is, what if she was right all along? What if that letter she found really has something to do with this? The same thing was written in her room, with her own blood
And nothing. I expected to hear a better argument from you, Rebecca.
Oh boy, here it is, the trick of the light guy. We look up to find Ashton marching towards us, his strides quick and decisive. The expression on his face, however, there are really no other words for it. He looks pissed as hell. And if he was the kind of person, I'd wager good money that the next one who annoys him will end up injured in some capacity.
And before you ask, the stupid letter's with forensics now, along with the other evidence. Don't waste your time looking for it. The whole case is a train wreck as it is.
What would you have me do then? We don't know who did this. Whoever or whatever murdered our friend is still out there.
You think I don't know that? I'll get him, I promise. I'll get him, put him behind bars, and make him pay. But please don't go around playing cop. We aren't playing a children's game.
I have no intention to. Don't you think we also want the same thing as badly as you do?
His mouth opens, poised to say something, but wavers in the end. He averts his eyes. Maybe it's just me, but for a fleeting second, something close to regret flickers in them.
You don't know the half of it.
What on earth do you mean by...
Alright, guys. That's enough. Proper time and place, remember? We ain't getting anywhere like this.
Sorry, you two. I think I need some air. I'll step out for a while.
Oh, just forget I mentioned anything, Zachary. It's probably the exhaustion talking. Maybe. Okay, so there is no voice acting for this. Okay, I thought maybe that would work. She's already walking away before the two of us can react. Although with how our previous exchange went down, I highly doubt chasing after her will do us both good. An awkward second stretches out between Ash and I until I remember that the photographs are still with me. They continue to weigh more than they actually do in my hands. I try not to look at them again when I hand it back to him. Once is enough.
You left this with me back there.
Recognition slips across his features before he walks over and takes them off my hands without so much as a thanks. Neither of us speaks while he clips all of it back to his file. What else is there to talk about? A jest will be too inappropriate given the gravity of the situation. An apology right now, despite my intent when I sought him out, will be too early, too easy, and too hasty. Not with our minds still reeling from the news. Not with all of us still finding ways to cope with our own grief. And this is how he does it, with feigned indifference and an air of aloof detachment. I can't fault him for that.
What's next after this, Ash?
Can't say. But make sure you stay far away from the rights. We've got enough problems as it is. I don't need another one adding more to it.
Ooh. Wait, brakes, Ash, brakes. What about those things on the wall? Maybe she's right. Maybe it has something to do with what she's been telling us all this time. You saw the contents of the paper. What if it's...
Don't go thinking that the stupid letter is related or even a clue. This has more to it than some curse, damn it. I should have paid more attention. If I knew this would lead to this, I have to go. I'll leave Rebecca to you.
Yet as I watch him walk away, a different kind of worry weaves itself into me. Ash can handle himself, is a proven that time again. But the way he carries himself at the moment, this frustration, perhaps even anger, now seeping into his every word. Years ago, early in our acquaintance, he said keeping a cool head is a priority in his line of work. Letting things get too personal should be the last thing that should happen in any case he's handling. I believed him then. Now with everything as they are, I hope he'd remember those words for himself. Oh, okay. Although it's small and begs for a little cleaning and repair, it is the end of the day, the closest I have to a respite. Sure, my sister would have a thing to say about this, and I guess now it's the same. Or maybe not. A mild draft sweeps into the room as I close the door behind me, slightly disturbing the papers on the nearby fridge. Most of them schedules and everything. But something to keep me busy while I sort myself out. And now with what happened to Isabella, something to temporarily take my mind off things. A lone note flutters, glaring, and it is this one only, yeah. After Ashton's warning, they all hold a different meaning now. Oh, provided he's still willing to talk to me after I accidentally clobbered his jaw the other day. Not really the most sensible course of action either, but waiting here ain't doing me any good. For all I know, the Wrights could be out of town. As luck would have, just as I'm about to turn on my heel, a loud thump rises from the other side. But wait a minute. Okay, so yeah. Another long second takes, and if nobody had came, he was talking about going to Ash, and probably a little change because yeah, after what we did to him in this route though. So yeah, that unlocks this little thing up right here.
One of my friends, she left us because of her.
What if she's just sad? Or maybe she just wants help. That's what happened with Melody. I let her borrow my crayon when she left hers.
Alrighty, this unlocked this little part of it where, yeah, now that Isabella's dead, we set that thing up over there.
I never want to wake up to that kind of thing again. Finding out one of my friends has been found dead. Murdered in her own apartment. One person is enough.
This is still better than having no other course of action, yeah?
He's about to argue for a moment, but
Look, bro, if things ain't good, I'll be the first one out. But allow me this one thing, aight? Just this one time. If it doesn't work out, you'll be the first one to know. You can laugh then, or berate me all you want, but please don't ask me to step aside like I'm incapable of doing anything to help.
I have no idea if it is the look on my face or the tone of my voice. Ultimately, although his mouth presses into a thin line and he nods, yeah, because of the very choice that we made. This was a little different, but still somewhere same along the lines though.
Do what you want. If you can check in with Rebecca, I'd appreciate it.
And yep, it unlocked this part of the thing up over there. Oh, and I'm sure that what Isabella would want if she was still here. I head straight for their drawer without a second thought. Yeah, because Isabella is now dead. Yeah, it was like Isabella would have done the same thing because yeah, she's dead, that's why. So yeah, that's a little new thing that we unlocked up right over here. And if he continues the way he is right now, I'm afraid he will make a fatal mistake this time because yeah, we know what happened to Isabella because this is why this dialogue came up over here. Okay, you gotta have to choose this decision, and it does this. Last I heard him speak like that, a friend ended up dead. Last time it was a friend ended up in the hospital, so yeah.
I'll be there in a few. An hour or two tops.
Thanks. I'll see you.
Yep, and it unlocked this last thing up over here. So now let's go back to the alternate choices. Okay, last time around we chose to comfort Rebecca. Let's follow Ashton and let's see what amazingness we will get into though. In the end, the need to fix whatever rift I have unintentionally opened between us wins out. The punch might have been an instinctive reaction brought about by high emotions after getting caught in the moment, but at the end of the day, someone has to ask for forgiveness. I still need answers too, and who better to get it from than Ash? I've already lost sight of the guy, though he shouldn't be too hard to find around here. Thankfully, the crowd has already thinned, most having already lost interest in the commotion that entails the discovery of a crime scene left. A few do linger, and yada yada yada. If this incident is not yet all over the news this morning, it will be soon.
Like a pack of wolves descending on a piece of meat.
That thought alone rankles. No sooner I find him standing close on a police van parked nearby, or rather hear him. Just as I'm about to make the turn, an unfamiliar voice stops me in my tracks.
Forensics say it may take longer than usual. One piece of a long-ass process this is gonna be. Don't give me that look, Frey. You've seen how terrible the shape of the body is in. Almost spilled my guts out when I saw it. And I've seen a lot of dead bodies in my life.
I can't see who the other person is, and we will never likely see, I think, but it's likely the officer he mentioned earlier. When Ashton answers, it's in the same composed manner he typically carries with him, as though this is simply another case for him to solve.
This was done by a professional, Abigail.
Sure it is. Or a wild animal. Maybe some monster, like the ones you'll find in a flick.
Don't be ridiculous. This is far from usual. But there's certainly an explanation to it. A logical one. Consider what we have right now. The place is clean, has been cleaned. No fingerprints, no hair, or any other way to indicate someone else has been in the apartment aside from the victim.
Please don't tell me you've never heard of the Anselm Butcher case.
Didn't the trail for that case go cold?
Until recently, yeah? Remember the woman from the other day? Not as gruesome, but same sitch. Help me everywhere. CSI guys also found a weird note with the same thing written in Santos's room. I'd bet my boots Chief's gonna flip once he reads the reports. He never did catch who committed those murders years ago, and now his favorite serial killer is back. Bless Cooper's and Santos's poor souls. Some suspense mystery thriller this is turning out to be. Or a huge pain in the ass. Chief better give us a raise after this.
What did you say?
Chief better give us a raise? You know we're overdue for one.
No, before that. Say that again.
The note? It's with the forensics now if you want to check.
Not that one. A name. You mentioned a name. Cook? Coombs?
The Cooper woman? Oh yeah, you weren't there. Christ, Frey, at least check the reports for the other cases. Let's see. Rose Pamela Cooper, real estate agent, found dead in her flat the other day. Same modus operandi. Scene was clean, blood and entrails everywhere, whoop-de-doo, there goes my lunch, and a message written in blood.
Ashton falls silent. I can almost hear the gears turning in his head at the information.
The job. Her job. Where did you say she was working?
I didn't say anything. But it's Briar Realty, same one as this girl. Might be connected, huh?
They were the agents who handled the sale of the mansion to the Wrights.
Yep. Big news, that one property.
And he's gonna connect it to the Wrights and think Wrights is behind this thing. And possibly go to BRC in his chapter, all alone. Yeah, it makes sense.
Got a relative working in that real estate company once. He was laid off a year ago along with a few dozen employees. I actually thought they're about to go under. Guess not. But 2 employees from the same company dead in the span of a week. If I didn't know any better, I'd say they did something fishy with a deal and things somehow got awkward with the client, if you know what I mean. This might be the result.
Isabella's not that kind of person!
His tone alone makes me pause. I've seen him annoyed before, frustrated even. It sometimes makes for a funny sight. But on a job, he's shared a few of his cases with me before. I'd like to think I know how he works by now. And he has never once taken this kind of attitude in any of those.
Whoa there, hotshot. Calm down. I was just thinking out loud. Don't get snippy with me. And how the do you even know she's not?
I know she's not. I wasn't... Sorry. I've got to file this report. I'm leaving this to you. I'll be back later. Keep me updated.
Figures. Go get some rest while you're at it. We've been at this since last night. Even I can't keep myself awake that long. You're still young, a hard-working kid, but don't kill yourself over every case you're handling, got it?
Thanks. Not this one, I'm afraid.
An irrational panic surges in me at the sound of his footsteps. It ain't my intention to eavesdrop, if this can still be called eavesdropping when they are talking loud enough for me to hear. I certainly can live, but what good will that do? In any case, I still need to give these photographs back to him. Except he doesn't notice me when he passes. Even with the tentative hand I raise to get his attention, he continues to walk with a purpose, each stride quick and decisive. The look on his face, however, there are really no other words for it. He looks pissed. Yeah. And if he was the kind of person I'd wager good money that the next one who annoys him will end up injured in some capacity, I think this is the time we need to skip now.
Ash, hold on!
Okay, no. Hold on, yeah. He stops, appears out about to let out a half dozen expletives. Despite his restraint before his that expression eases into a small frown upon seeing me.
Zach? Didn't I say...
You forgot these.
I wave the photos in front of him. Recognition slips across his features before he walks over and takes them off my hands without so much as a thanks. Neither of us speak while he clips all of it back to his file. What else is there to talk about? It just will be too inappropriate, and that's why we gotta have to skip now, I guess. But no, there's still more. An apology right now, despite my intent when I sought him out, will be too early, too easy, and too hasty. Not with our minds still reeling from the news.
You heard?
What? Oh, yeah. Of course, I didn't mean to overhear sensitive stuff. But you left these, and you and that officer were...
It's fine. You need to hear from someone eventually. Better to hear it from people who have the fact instead of some random gossip.
What happens now, Ash?
I'll get to the bottom of this, I promise. Even if I have to do it with my own hands. I'll make sure the person who did this will pay.
How? Do you think this has something to do with that other case?
Can't say, but make sure you stay far away from the rights. We've got enough problems as it is. I don't need another one adding more to it.
Ooh. Wait, brakes, Ash, brakes. What about those things on the wall? Maybe she's right. Maybe it has something to do with what she's been telling us all this time.
And now it's the same. Okay, it won't bring Isabella back. It's far too late for that. But she certainly won't wish for anything to happen to us either. Outside, the sun has yet to rise. I've still got a few hours before dawn. Good enough time to mull over how I will go about this and how I will go about to skip this now. But before that, we got the middle route of this one now. I am wrong to think this one will be as easy as the other times coming out here and just talking, but with the word stuck in my throat, that plan has been quickly thrown out of the window. We don't talk in the first place, we rarely ever do. When a misunderstandings like this happens, the next day we are back to the way we are, like nothing occurred at all. None of those fights ever involved fists and bruised jaws though. Not a dead friend. An excuse is already forming in my head when he moves, stopping my thoughts with a little tap on my shoulder and walks past me straight to the door. He gestures with his head towards their very irritated receptionist.
Over lunch.
And yeah.
I haven't eaten anything since last night, and Benjamin there doesn't really like loiterers around here.
Yeah, so let's skip. Even with that, lunch is still every bit as awkward as I imagine it will be. Yep. As expected, he takes his seat in the farthest corner, secluded, and yada yada yada, yada yada. We have got no use for privacy when neither of us seem too keen on talking, yeah. The arrival of food, a chuckle here or a little nod there, not quite enough to break the tension, nor be taken as an apology, but the cordial to the point swallowing our meal becomes easier. But someone has to open that can of worms eventually, no matter how unpleasant it is. And yep, let's open the can. So let's say sorry for hitting you the other day. Above all, he was not the one who threw the first punch that day.
Ash, the other day...
Words falter from my mouth when he pauses, eating his fork halfway to his mouth. It clings a moment later against his plate when he settles it down and leans back on his seat, arms crossed and all ears. A second or two passes before I find my voice again.
You deserve an apology for the other day. Sorry for hitting you. Didn't mean to do it. I was overwhelmed. It wasn't very good news to wake up to.
He does not answer. Rather, he picks his abandoned utensil up and resumes eating.
Hey, are you still...
My jaw was smarting the whole day after that, you ass.
Sorry about that too.
There doesn't appear to be any kind of swelling or bruising though. A small relief because the last time this happened, which also notably occurred mere scant minutes after we met, the purple hue stayed for weeks. Wrongfully accused for being at the wrong place at the wrong time. But it all worked out. In the end, that very same guy I punched was the very one who helped clear my name.
I was at fault too. I should have phrased it better. Should have handled it better. Sorry.
There is no exchange after that, and for the better part of the lunch, we keep to our respective meals. I suppose it's better this way, less reason for things to become awkward. This is as close as we could get to rebuild that bridge after all. However, this ain't the hardest part.
How's it going?
How's what going?
You know what I'm talking about.
He rakes a hand through his hair and lets out a huff. If he can, if the place ain't as cramped, full of people, or as loud as it is currently, I don't doubt he will be pacing the length of the room. Anything to take the edge off, anything to get his brain running.
Nothing from forensics yet. They're having a hard time. You saw the state the body was in. Doesn't even look like it was done by a human.
Maybe it's not human.
What, are you suggesting some wild dog broke into the victim's apartment and did that to her? The place was clean. This had to be done by someone who's been doing this for years.
You know I would never imply something like that.
Well, what are you implying then?
That maybe these might be connected.
Alright, but he's gonna just say the same thing over here. Yeah, let's see. Yeah. It takes a minute to go through each, eyeing the prints warily. The furrow on his brow doesn't ease even as he gathers all of it into one pile and sets them in one neat stack in front of me with a heavy sigh. So let's see what's gonna be this time though. As much as I want to keep my own unanswered pay, I can't stop it from coming out of my mouth's voice.
That's completely beside the point here, Ash.
I warned you, Zach.
I get it, alright?
Okay, let's see.
You can't just expect me to turn it down after I made a commitment to a client. I got to
Alright.
put food on my table.
Alright, let's see how things are gonna go and what is he gonna say to shock him out.
I didn't say you shouldn't, but you should not be messing with them.
I wasn't messing.
And this isn't.
Oh my god. Just got even though I've heard it so many times in this guide chapter. Like I'm going through this so many times. My god, that still got me.
It was a job, and that ain't how these photos were intended to. You think I'd go out of my way just to edit something like this? There's something weird going on here.
And you think Luke Wright will see it that way? You think the Wright missus will find it amusing?
I did not do this for my amusement.
If you understood that in the first place, we wouldn't be having this stupid talk. Luke, keep hanging around them and you'll find yourself burnt to a crisp in your— This case is—
Will you stop talking about the damn case for once and just listen to me? Why do you think Isabella's—
Don't you dare bring her into this. We're talking about you and this stupid—
Oh, of course you don't want to talk about it. She's dead because of your own incompetence.
Oh boy, with every ending that we got, like first it was like okay, little like he was right on that part. Then with Isabella in the hospital, okay, it got a little worse than the previous one, and this one is just the worst. Like this is the worst of the worst that he said to him right now. Oh boy. Every expression drains from his face as soon as the words are out of my mouth. They fit their mark. This time, absolutely and very wrongly, I will say. Yeah, they shouldn't have said that. Each utterance scales and everything. Yep. All right. Last time around, we said sorry for hitting you the other day. Now let's say, does it still hurt you?
Does it still hurt?
He glances up from his meal and I don't know what might have shown in my face or if I even made one, but for a small moment, grief flickers in his eyes. Too soon. Not right now. The wounds are still too fresh. It screams in those fleeting seconds. Any other occasion, he will look pretty pleased with himself for having that cake as lunch. Today, food is altogether forgotten on a corner of the table. To him, that question asks a whole different thing. Because talking about this means going back to that day, means reliving what we all saw, means having to accept all too early what has already changed. Or suddenly, she's gone.
Ash,
Wipe that look off your face. I can take a hit.
You know I don't mean it that way.
I realize that. Besides, this isn't the first one. You also clobbered my jaw that time on a bank robbery case, remember?
Nothing but a little misunderstanding, that one. Of course, if he hadn't shown up, I might have ended up spending jail time longer than necessary due to some mistaken notion by a lazy cop. How many years has it been? 7? 8? We were still a little green back then, rough around the edges. Funny how much we have all changed, yet not at all in the span of a few years. Now everything's shifting again.
That was different.
I deserved that one. I was rude then.
Well, you still are technically. But the other day, you were just doing your job. I could have gotten into trouble. Can't blame you for stopping me. I understood where you're coming from the moment I saw the crime scene photos.
It doesn't answer after, and the silence that descends feels completely disconcerting. Without meaning to, we have dwelt deeper into the territory we barely want to touch on. Too fresh, too painful. And it shows in the abrupt shift of his eyes and the tense line of his shoulders. This is the hardest part in all this, ain't it?
How's it going?
How's what going?
You know what I'm talking about.
He rakes a hand through his hair and lets out a huff. If the place ain't as cramped full of people or as loud as it currently is, I don't doubt he'll be pacing the length of the room. Anything to take the edge off, anything to get his brain running.
Nothing from forensics yet. They're having a hard time. You saw the state the body was in. Doesn't even look like it was done by a human.
Maybe it's not human.
Alright, it's same from here now.
I know I said some real weird things the other day. If this is still about that, I'm not taking it back. It wasn't just a trick of the eye.
In an instant, he sits up, every trace of amusement gone from his face. So, okay. Thankfully, this was for something, not just for, like, I don't know what unlocked though exactly, but hey, he claps his hands in front of him and leans forward. A minuscule gesture meant to ease, yet the grim expression on him tells a different story altogether.
No, you're right. There really are some odd things going on here lately.
Wait, what? Did I just hear you say that?
I'm not kidding, Zach. Speaking of the other day, did you meet with Andrew last time?
Yeah, at the library.
What did he say about the photographs?
Huh? Oh, there's...
Okay, I think this is about it. In order to unlock this as well as this, we need to do another change in chapter 1. As you can see up right here, what change exactly we did is that instead of meeting with the Perished, if you remember in my original set of choices, this time around I've chosen to meet with the professor. So yeah, this time around I guess he will do a mention about him, and professor would also do a mention about her or him. Let's see how that will goes up over here, and for that you gotta have to choose, is this really a gig, and then let's see what he's gonna say new year, hopefully.
In fact, you aren't the first one to ask me about that recently.
Oh.
Although, word of the mouth is, someone has already bought it.
Ah, yeah. The right couple. It was a close friend who handled that sale.
So I heard.
This was the little new thing, but it did not unlock this part yet again, but it did this one, so wow, I gotta have to again scavenge again to see what unlocks this part of it. God damn it. Alright, next day again, and before we go on to that one dialogue that I'm still stuck on with, let's go for this one that I missed out at the beginning, where last time around, or in my original set of choices, I said tell the truth, but let's say, or let's play it off this time. Let's say a lie now.
Oh. What, this?
The pills rattle against the container when I shake it casually in front of her.
They're nothing to worry about. They're just vitamins. Vitamins, Bella. You know, the usual maintenance stuff. Can't be too careful these days, especially with how erratic the weather has been lately. Actually, I did come down with something last week. Forgot to tell you guys about it. Got me a little worried I wouldn't be able to make it in my own movie premiere. Good thing the virus or whatever it is left days before we're supposed to meet, huh? Although I think it's decided to come back for another round.
Let's see if she picks up this lie though.
Zach, you aren't really sick, are you?
Oh boy, she picked up real quick. Just when I said it right now. Great. Well, there goes that excuse. Cause it really sounded so obvious, I will say.
You're the nicest guy I know around, but you're an even worse liar than I am. I understand it's not a habit, but even I can tell when something's bothering you.
Yep, that was straight up obvious right there.
You have no idea how many times I've been told that.
She shifts her attention to her hand, two fingers clasp firmly together at the hem of her shirt. Instead of the usual grin I'm expecting from her, she drons a frown, her lips pressing tightly together in a slight grimace. Seems like she wants to ask more, beyond what I'm willing to tell, but simply can't phrase it. I can't tell if this sudden inquisitive, curious nature has been a part of her from the start, or she has merely spent too much time around Rebecca and Ash. When she looks up, however, the question doesn't come. There is only a smile, too reassuring to be genuine, on her face.
Can you tell me one thing at least about this and that thing when we ate lunch the other day? It isn't just about what happened to your movie now anymore, is it?
No, it ain't. That was never it in the first place.
Just a simple statement of the fact, this much I can answer with all honesty. She nods then, her conflicted expression melting into something more pensive. This is her concession.
I understand. I'm sorry if that came off a bit pushy.
I appreciate it. I really do, Bella. There are some things that are harder to talk about. Even with longtime friends.
I get you, or at least I think I do. I'm not going to pretend I could help and tell you it's going to be okay. I know it's never that easy. But I'm here for you if you need someone to listen, Zach. You know that, right?
I could say the same thing about you. I'm here for you if you want to tell me about what happened yesterday. You were pretty shaken.
A laughter almost bitter and likely a little harsh slips out from me. Completely unintentional on my part, perhaps even the medication taking, but the words have already been said, the damage done, leaving only enough room for regret and awkwardness. But yeah, still she doesn't flinch. Only looks a bit torn, with her mouth opening and closing in silent indecision. In the end, she settles for a deep breath, the release slow and steady as if letting out the heaviness weighing on her. When she looks up at me, a small, unfamiliar, barely noticeable thing slips by. As for what, it's impossible for me to tell.
I'll tell you. I promise I'll tell you. But not right now. Not when I need to make sure of something first. Please understand. Ever since I came here, other people, you guys, have always been helping me. You, Ash, Becca, even the job I have. I only got it because my aunt helped. I don't want to repay any of that kindness by dragging other people into more trouble than necessary. I just want to try and fix this myself.
I should be happy. There should be pride in that despite the problems, she has found herself a stable ground to stand on. But somehow, this time, I find myself worrying instead. I will make another attempt to get the story out of her if I can. But this is a dance I know all too well, and with her, I doubt forcing her to say something would yield any results. As much as I want to imitate Ash, there's only so much I can ask that won't result in something a little over disastrous. At best, she'll stop talking to me until a week passes. At worst, I'd rather not risk it. I've never seen her angry. Outright annoyed, maybe, and often directed at Ash, but never furious. What do they say again about happiest people when angry? Could be the most angriest and the worst thing of them all, yeah. Besides, it had been unfair to her after our little chat. Yeah.
So, food then?
She seems relieved at the brisk of the change of subject, and as if it has been simply waiting for its cue all this time. Her stomach rumbles at the mention of food. Rather loudly, as a matter of fact.
Alrighty, Missy. We're going to get some chow now. Better be quick, though. Can't have your stomach starting a revolution on us here.
Don't make fun of me. I'm not that hungry. Maybe a little. I didn't think I'd end up skipping dinner last night.
And now we have one starved stomach protesting. Sorry, it'll be nothing fancy, since I'm a little low on stocks. I should probably drop by the grocery store after the meeting this afternoon.
I can make a quick run for you if you want.
Nah, I've got enough to put together something nice here. Maybe. I could always improvise if we're missing an ingredient or two. It ain't like we're going for a Michelin 3-star status here. Also, didn't I say you're a guest? Is this a Filipino thing? Or just Rebecca rubbing off on you?
The soft laughter that comes from her doesn't quite reach her eyes. Neither. The answer is neither. Because if she stays idle, she'll remember.
On second thought, I might need a little help slicing up the potatoes while I prep the ham. You up for that?
What? Do you think instant noodles are all I'm about? I'll have you know I can cook a mean paella with my eyes closed. All my siblings love it.
Sure you can. Come on. I think I know what we'll do with those spare ingredients.
Alright, and I guess from here on out, it's the same. So let's move on to our last thing now.
Believe me, it got awkward fast after that.
Yes, finally. Oh my god. So yeah, if you wanna unlock this part of it, finally, you gotta have to do a change in chapter 2, where instead of stopping the teasing, you gotta have to continue it, where he talks about, oh, it got a little awkward between us, the chat that happens between Zach and Hannah. Wow, so with that, we are finally done with all the choices in this chapter. As you can see, upright from here. Yeah. All the way to here. Yeah, a big chapter, but we are finally done. Yeah, this is gonna take quite the time to edit, oh boy, because it took me quite the days to find all the endings, and especially I was stuck on this one, but I finally got it. So yeah, with that, we are done with all the branch routes, all the different dialogues, and all the different things that we can do. in our chapter 3, that is Zach's chapter. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this long episode of branch root episode of chapter 3. Hopefully it helped you out in finding out how to unlock them, or how you get this, or what were they in the first place. Yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed. If you liked this video or were like, wow, this was very helpful, then please click that like button, subscribe for more awesome content, comment down below your thoughts, and I will see you guys in the next video. And as for this game, the next chapter's all endings guide. Yes, so goodbye and Shabakar.